Welcome to Meadowbrook Memories Podcast. I am Jelly, otherwise known as Glacier Prince, and my co-host is Hitchcock, otherwise known as Alfred Henry. Our mission on this podcast series is to explore the stories behind the magic that was created at Meadowbrook. When over a span of 4 years, between 1982 and 1986, we saw the transformation of a small co-educational school with less than 1,200 students, 800 boys, 800 girls and 400 boys into a successful sports and scholastic champion, winning 7 major trophies, 3 Sunlight Cup, 2 Topping Cup, 1 Walker Cup, and 1 Nutriment Shield. And to crown these achievements, Meadowbrook also produced 2 Rhodes Scholars, Cavell Creighton in 1987 and Andrea Wright in 1989, both graduates of Meadowbrook in 1983. In this podcast series, we'll be speaking to persons, both males and female, who were actively involved in this incredible journey, along with friends and staff at Meadowbrook, which inspired the environment which created this golden era. We hope you enjoy our discussion. Please give us as much support and encouragement as you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. Welcome and thanks for joining us. All right, ready? Go.
Okay.
Today is Sunday, July 3rd, 2022, and welcome back to another conversation about Meadowbrook Memories. As I say, it's about memories. It's not a podcast or interview. Me, as usual, Jelly, our Prince, our Glacier, our Lance, and any one of those names will do, as you know. And joining me as my co-host for the first time is Gerald Belnavis, or for me is simply G, who was a former student and former teacher at Meadowbrook. In the late 60s and 1970s, he taught at the school and was a guest on conversation number 6. Today, we are joined by another former teacher, Mr. Lennox Deane, who taught me commerce during that golden era at Meadowbrook and came to Meadowbrook in 1976 and left in 1985. But he's here to give his Meadowbrook memories. And our next guest, by no means least, last but no means least, is a current teacher at Meadowbrook. And I'm looking forward to our conversation because it is in great context to get the memory of a teacher who has been there for the last 21 years. So Hyacinth Johnson graciously reached out to Alfred Henry and wanted to join the conversation. So welcome everybody. Jerry, introduce back yourself and then Mr. Deane and then
Yes.
Ms. Johnson. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Gerald Belnavis, past student, past teacher, and passionate Meadowbrook supporter.
Yeah, good. I'm Mr. Deane.
Lennox, Deane. I came into Meadowbrook in 1976, as was just said before. I have always appreciated the school, actually love the school, and I'm overjoyed actually to be a part of this initiative by Glacier and to share. So, pleased to be here.
I appreciate that, Mr. Deane. Happy that you take the time out to come meet. And Ms. Johnson, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hyacinth Johnson, current teacher at Meadowbrook High School. I've been there since September 2001. Well, actually, my story or my journey at Meadowbrook should have been a very short one because I was there for a teacher who went on maternity leave, so I should have only been there for 2 months. However, the principal then, Mrs. Lowe, saw a passion, a fire, whatever you want to call it, in me that I have, things that I could offer or contribute to the success and development of the school. And so I was offered a permanent position. And hence, I have done over 20 years and at the school teaching. My area of specialization is information technology and accounting, and I am capable of teaching all other business subjects as well. And I am a commissioned officer of the Jamaica Combined Cadet Force, my rank being captain.
What?
Yeah, but very impressive, Miss Johnson. But let me say this in context, Jerry and Mr. Deane. When Alfred sent me Miss Johnson information, and everybody have them a bio, them picture, And I saw Miss Johnson picture. I'm assuming that's her picture. I'm saying, wow. She said she at the school for 21 years. She must have been teaching there since she's a teenager.
Quite possible. It sounds that way.
Well, yeah, when I saw
Yeah.
the picture of Miss Johnson, I said, wow, you're pretty young for be there for 21 years. But you will give your story. You look, I am impressed. That's all I can say. So, so, so Mr. Deane, I'm going to start with you with most of the question them first, and then we'll take it from there. The first question I asked all of the guests who come on this program, did you choose Meadowbrook or Meadowbrook chose you?
I chose Meadowbrook, and I mean, let me just give some background. I'm a Calabar old boy, right? Let me just make that.
You will not be all that again, so.
I know that, especially since there's a closeness, both in terms of color combination and geographical proximity of the two schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love my school, but when I graduated from university, I decided I wanted to teach. And I did not want to teach at a boys' school. Having been to a boys' school for my entire life, and I appreciate the boys' school, I understand the rationale for it, but I really wanted to teach into a boys' school. Actually, I got a job at Immaculate High School, but I did not have any interest in teaching at Immaculate. It was just too refined and just not my speed at all. I wasn't interested. I mean, I probably would have gone there if I didn't have a choice, but it didn't enamor me. So I got a call from Mr. Thorpe at the time, and from we met, we had a good connection, and so so when I got to Meadowbrook, I really was interested because I had some previous, I wouldn't say connection, but certainly awareness of Meadowbrook, and I always thought of it as a good quote unquote school. So yeah, I chose to go to Meadowbrook.
So before I go to Mr. Johnson, Mr. Deane, were you aware where Meadowbrook was? Because a lot of people.
Yes.
Okay.
I live off in Whitehall area.
Manizil Roadway. Okay.
Manizil Roadway.
Yeah.
So it's not unfamiliar to me at all.
Okay.
And I have friends in Havendale and
okay, you're familiar with the area then. Because a lot of people don't even know where Meadowbrook is at all. Up to today, a lot of people don't even know where Meadowbrook is at all. And they even know some school on this. So, yeah.
And no other person don't know if a school is up there.
No, right. Yeah, Jerry,
if I might interject, Lance.
No, man. Anytime, Jerry, you have a question, you go ahead, man. You go ahead, yeah.
Well, it's more of a statement. I'd like to say that when I came to Meadowbrook, I came to teach economics and commerce, and Lennox was the head of the department, and he kept very high standards, and he welcomed me with open arms, and my time there was made a lot more. Well, I felt a lot more comfortable based on the welcome that I got, and Lennox was a big part of that. So I just like to say that my first meeting with Lennox was a very positive one.
We have more to say on that later on.
Yeah, man, we get it. We get it.
We need not reciprocate.
Yeah. So, Ms. Johnson, you came to Meadowbrook long after all of us leave Meadowbrook. You came there in 2001. Did you choose Meadowbrook or Meadowbrook chose you?
And stayed so much longer.
Wow. I would believe that the choice was both ways. I mean, because as I said, I was told, why am I going to somewhere where I'm only being offered just 2 months when I could have gotten a clear vacancy or a longer teaching period? Because Petersfield, I got a call so that I could, have an offer for Petersfield, that's back down in the west side.
The Westmoreland, yeah.
That was for a longer period. And when I tell them, no, I already give my commitment to teaching at Meadowbrook High School, and the fact that I went there and saw my principal from high school, I said, this is supposed to be somewhere of substance, and I'm going to stay. So I believe that the school chose me, and by extent, in being a part of the family, I decide to stay there and to stay there as long as I am there now, because the offering that Meadowbrook gives, it's like a family setting.
Mm.
And then, the head, I heard it talking about the head of department. My head of department at the time, may her soul rest in peace because she's now deceased, was Marie Bryan. And she was so warm and welcoming. I just could not have go to Mrs. Lowe at the time and say, I got a better offer because it's a longer. I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And being there, I really have no regrets
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen the transition of the school. I mean, welcoming to a family, the synergy. I love to use that word. The synergy was good.
Mm-hmm.
You work, and then I get into the sports program, which I am very passionate about, along with my cadet. And so I'm notorious for like being the cadet master. Them say, oh, you come and they ask, oh, the Brunt, you mean the cadet lady? Yeah, man. Just go there and then you see her. So yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that the school shows me, and in being a part of the family, I grown into it, and so is there now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a wonderful feeling.
But you mentioned her name, Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Lowe was the principal at the time, and she was your principal at Mona. You mentioned
Yeah, she was my principal.
while
And
you were
so
going to school at Mona.
right, my alma mater is Mona High.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finished college, I got a 1 year teaching job at Prairie High School. And then after that 1 year, you have to go hunting again. And so I saw in the papers where they needed a teacher, business teacher at Meadowbrook High. And being that I am not far from the school, because my community is doing, then I can walk it to
Mm.
Meadowbrook. Will be right. And so when I went there, I mean, I can remember it vividly. Mrs. Lowe said to me, oh my, your foot is too short. If you just come a little bit earlier, you'd have gotten the job. And I was like, oh. And she said, you know what? I have a 2 months job. I will give it to you right now if you want it. You'll take it? I said, okay, sure. And she said, all right, no problem. So just right there and then, I mean, no formal interview, no nothing. She just, because she knew me from Mona High, and she know how my involvement is and my passion for doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And she went right over to Miss Brand, who was also just as welcoming as Mrs. Lowe was. And Mrs. Lowe said, no man, she's a good person. We need to, give her the 2 months and we see what goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend was saying, why would you take up a 2 months job? I mean, you're going to finish in by the end of October. Nobody really leaves anywhere. So you're going to be out of a job for 2 months. You have to start looking again for January. You might get. I said, you know what? I feel comfortable at the school. You might be in agreement. So I'm just gonna stick it out and we just see what happens after. And 2 months turn into going 21 years.
Very, very impressive. Very impressive. But you mentioned something though that you say, but it can answer the question. So you were aware where Meadowbrook was before. A lot of people don't know. You say you used to live in, are you still living in UN then? You were living in UN at the time. So you're
Well,
familiar with Meadowbrook. That's the question I ask you.
yes, I'm familiar with Meadowbrook. I lived in UNM. I'm familiar with Meadowbrook because I've had classmates from Solofield Primary who attends Meadowbrook, and we were very good friends. And so that would have been my choice. But then when I did the exam, I went to Mona, and my friend went to Meadowbrook. So we still keep in touch of the activity. And so I knew about the school, the location, and what it's about.
Okay, I get you. So, Mr. Deane, you take this job now as you came to Meadowbrook to teach what? Commerce, or what was your position?
I got the job to teach economics primarily, A-level economics.
Okay.
And I Mr. And of course, the business background. I also taught commerce,
Mm-hmm.
and I also taught history.
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
That I didn't
history.
know, Mr. Deane, until somebody mentioned that the other day. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes, I taught history up to I taught a fourth or fifth form. I taught commerce. So at that time, O-level, and I also taught this other business course. I don't remember it right now.
Principles of
But
business, would that have been it?
principal, that's correct.
Yeah, when I'm
Correct.
changed it at
Yeah,
CXC, yes,
yeah. They
when I'm
shifted.
changed the name,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Principles of business. That's right. You remember better than my own.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, now what I'm thinking about it, I said I was aware what Meadowbrook is. It's more than an awareness, because I recall when I was at Calabar, Meadowbrook used to have some really great it's not
Parties,
really parties. They used to call them
Fit.
fetes
pet,
at the
barbecue,
time. Some
barbecue.
really, really good fetes. And I remember going to a fete there in the hall from I was at
Right.
Calabar. So
Mhm.
yeah, I very much was aware of more than just the location. The spirit, and so there are some very, very good fetes there, and I used to go to school.
You know,
Mhm.
you can't admit it, Mr. Dean. The girls in my Meadowbrook, they're just too attractive for you not go to the fit and like it. So it's all right.
No, but you know what, Glesta, I would concur because I have heard that in the past,
Mm-hmm.
Meadowbrook High School was known to throw the best fete ever. And so they get support from Calabar, from other school. Once Meadowbrook is putting on a fete, if you miss it, basically, as them say, you basically to miss is to this. You cannot afford not to be there. That is how good the fete was, I was told. So indeed, I'm agreeing with you.
With Mr. Dean, yeah.
Yeah, on that one because I've heard of it.
Very nice fete.
Repeat that, Mr. Dean.
No, very nice fete.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you come Meadowbrook, you come for teach Econ 6 farm and you come in the first day, Mr. Dean. What was the impression at the school? You come for your first day upon the job. What was the impression you come in?
It's a little while, Glista, to go back there, so.
Yeah.
It's how much years that?
Well,
40 something
40 odd
years.
years, yeah.
Yes, a long time. But well, it was my first full-time teaching job. I did teach part-time before that, but this is my first full-time teaching job. And there's a certain level of excitement, some level of trepidation. But my experience in the very first class, I think my very first class was my form as form teacher
Mm-hmm.
for, I remember, 2A
Mm-hmm.
at the time. And it was an interesting experience. I remember there was one young lady, well, I actually remember her name. She gave a lot of trouble. And I kind of, I different now than I'm at then, I'm probably more understanding now. But I really felt that I needed to establish myself as being the teacher of the class.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of a bit strict with her, and I remember her eyes opened when I spoke with her. And, when I never had any trouble with her, but Meadowbrook students, very well behaved. I've never had any real trouble, apart from those students, mostly girls that tend to be petulant and so, but Meadowbrook students never gave any problems. And in fact, I never had any trouble with people working, doing assignments, and it was a really good experience in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Mr. Johnson, I want to answer because I have a comment on that, because I don't know if you know. I taught here for about 18 months, And all the way I say, Mr. Dean, I can't relate to it at all. When I think back when I was at Meadowbrook, I say, this is how the students then behave. When me I look upon when me I teach here, I say, I don't know. But you're and I say, no, that wasn't the case. Everybody did them assignment and everybody follow instructions, they don't have a problem. So, Ms. Johnson, what was your first day like? And tying back to Mr. Dean in terms of like the students want to learn, or what the issues like?
Well, each generation of students that you get, you have slightly different issue. Yes, I would say that we get some good crop of students. So when it comes to academic, that is not bad. And then you will have the little deviant behavior, yes, occasionally. But comparing it to other schools who perhaps more of an inner city school, you won't get some of those behavior. And so it's not much of a difference. It's just that now with the whole rights of the child, and you have to be careful what you're saying, and the whole technology come into play. Kids are more verbal, and so when you give them something to, or you say something that they want to talk back. So now you have children who will be more verbal and decide, oh no, I'm not going to do, or I don't like how you give that instruction. And so they're really vocal with what they're saying.
You mean
But like,
them tell you they must stand up for them rights, or them have rights?
yes, so that is what they said. Oh, I have rights. So if you like, sit. No, you can't tell me to sit because I'm not a dog, or the command, and that. So that is the challenge. But for me, because I was small, I started not in teenage. I started out teaching in my mid-20s. And then I'm small in body, so you like have these tall students who tower over me. And I just had to assert my authority. I was like, okay, I one done inside here, so as far as you know, the principal give me the right to run my class. Because I mean, the one done, the rest of you have to listen to me. And then, Mr. So yeah, move. I said, same way. I mean, I'll give you your chance, because I believe that students should speak. If something is bothering them, you speak. However, the whole respect must be there. So they will try. Trust me, Glesta.
Yeah.
Try. And so you have to affirm your authority. So the teaching can be really challenging.
Yeah,
but rewarding.
Well, let me ask you something now. Go back to your first year. Were you always this assertive in terms of, say, are your first year on the teaching job on Meadowbrook? What was it like?
Okay, for me, given that I had 1 year, I had 1 year worth of teaching experience in high school, because I was teaching at Prairie High before going to Meadowbrook. Prior to that, I also have teaching experience, but it's at the early childhood level, where I taught 3-year-old, 4-year, and 5-year-olds, different years, right? So I know how to interact with students and parents. So coming into Meadowbrook, I was not afraid to assert my authority, because I having that experience coming over from Prairie, and believe you me, I had like 60-something students in one class. Every Monday morning, I literally have a headache for that class, but I had to manage them. And so coming from there and coming into a smaller setting, still enough, but I was able to, bring myself and to say, hey, I'm a teacher with experience. I'm not just coming straight out of college. Yes, I will look young, but I have experience under my belt. So it was not that intimidating for me, because coming into the school, I already had a year experience. Experience, right?
A year, yeah. So Mr. Deane, the first year, not the first year, I say it after, just go back. I don't mean not to ask a question that way. When
Experience.
When you come on Meadowbrook campus, who were some of the teachers who were there, who you remember, who kind of, you look on and say, oh, one of these days I want to be as good as that teacher? I know you meant something set up, but go ahead, yeah.
In that way, but I mentioned earlier that when Jerry was sharing in terms of his contact with me initially, one of the things about Meadowbrook, for me, I don't know if it's different at any other school, is that the teachers there were really excellent teachers. I mean, really excellent teachers. I mean, I can look back and I can remember people like Valerie Nelson. I was there when I was there. I think Helen Bramley came afterwards. But there were those two that I recall. There was a Nancy. I don't remember her surname right now. There was Sue. I think she was from the States.
Sue Chambers.
You remember?
Yes.
Yeah. You
She was
remember?
British. She was British. I think is British.
Oh, British. Well, yes.
yes.
And well, yes. Really excellent.
You remember Miss Richard Bisadine?
What Richards again?
Pauline
Richards.
Of course, Richards. Yes.
Good teacher
I think
too.
she came there at the same time or a year after me. Yes.
About the same time, Mr. Deane. I remember her well.
Yes.
She taught me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Very
I
good
can tell you,
geography.
I can tell you who was there when I came there, which is after, and because when I came there, there was a clique of troublemakers who welcomed me with open arms. That clique would include Lennox.
Yes.
One Never Beckford. Who else was there? Pauline, Richards,
Pauline.
Yeah.
Valerie
Yes,
Nelson,
Valerie
Helen.
was there. Right. And
Helen, she was Barbara at the time.
So Rory
Yes.
wasn't there when you went there, Mr. McGregor?
no, he came.
I
He
think
came
Rory and I
afterwards.
came there the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I
believe
thought
Rory
he
and I
came
came
sometime
there
after.
the same day. Yeah, the same term. I
Yes.
believe.
Yes, but there's a little clique, as I said, inside. I might be clique, it's not such a nice word, but inside that room. And we had very interesting times
Oh, yes.
joking around inside there.
Oh, yes.
When I say we can talk more about that when Jerry spoke, definitely really great times in that staff room.
Yeah, because
And
yeah, go ahead, finish up, Mr. Deane. Sorry.
I don't know if this is the time to mention
Yeah,
a
man.
part of what I
Yep.
would say is one of my hallmarks at Meadowbrook, which is the book.
Well,
Jerry.
Oh, Lord.
No, like,
Oh, Lord.
that's what I was going to ask you about, because I hear Miss Bramley and Mrs. Nelson talk about the book,
No, man, the book.
and Jerry,
I-
I'm begging him to talk to me about the book. Let me say, hold on.
Because he taught maths
Okay.
and chemistry. So he
Ah,
wouldn't have that
I got
experience
you.
with the book.
So,
Classic. I think I started it. We actually
Yeah,
had a book
yeah.
inside the staff room with gems that students wrote that make you go, huh?
yeah.
Right.
You know, you kind of wonder, they're on a different plane entirely. And
Absolutely.
it is one of my biggest regrets that I left and I did not record it. I don't know what happened to the book, Jerry.
I
But
have no
somebody
idea.
must
I
have
no
seen
idea.
it.
I have no idea what happened
No,
to that book.
I mean, we could publish it and give us the proceeds to Meadowbrook, man.
No, that
was
book, yes,
really
you're right, Mr. Deane. Right? When I hear Mrs. Nelson and Mrs. Bramley talk about the book, I'm saying that book I'd love to get a copy of just to talk about. Because
No, man, that book was classic. When you sit down and read that book.
And the good thing about the book, we were way ahead of our time, because in terms of student privacy and so on, we never use names.
Yes, right.
So no student name is
Yes, was
represented
there.
in
in
that
the book,
book.
right? You right.
All so if you uttered the most ridiculous thing that actually made the book, it would not be it attached
Yes.
to
Your name would not be
to your
known.
information.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys were well ahead of your time. You know, slander
Well ahead of
nobody.
our
You know,
time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we protected ourselves from any kind of legal action.
Well, that goes to show the quality of the teachers already. As smart as the
No, man,
you know,
really,
yeah.
really
No, but
classic.
just to remark on what Lennox said about. I mean, I was intimidated when I came to Meadowbrook by the quality of teachers that I saw there. I was
man,
like
excellent.
worried that I would be able to keep up with them, because Lennox himself, right, was like a brilliant economist, right? I mean, really, really good at what he did, and his marks.
I heard that earlier to Jerry.
But Lennox, Lennox exam result passes were like in the 90 percentile.
Well, for the record, Mr. Deane, I think
The
commerce
material.
was the only subject I passed with history when I take whatever the first
There
time.
you go. There you go. You go no further.
Right, I mean, I've gone further, Jerry. Exactly. I took 6 or 7 subjects, and it's only commerce and history I passed. I mean, I say, okay.
Played too much cricket that year, lad.
Exactly.
You played too much cricket that year. That's what happened to you.
Exactly. So Ms. Johnson, the same question to you. When you go to Meadowbrook, who are some of the teachers you look on and I say, okay, this kind of, as the word Jerry used or Mr. Deane used, kind of intimidating to say, yeah.
When I came there, of course, you mentioned a name that I'm familiar with. I saw Rory McGregor, very good physics teacher. And so the caliber of teachers I saw there, yeah, they were really good. And so I felt, okay, am I going to measure up to these, especially in the business department? We had some very good teachers, and the business head, Marie Bryan, deceased, she was really good. When I said that lady, she know how to solve a problem, whether it is classroom or outside of the classroom. She was really good. And she leads well with tough love. And she tell it like it is. So it was really good. So yes, a little bit of intimidation would have occurred because you say, oh wow, would I be able to measure up to the standard that the school at the time was, pushing. So yeah, so I mean, hearing about Rory, I had a maths teacher, Mr. Carr, Huntley Carr. The maths department, they were good. There were Miss Sital, Miss.
Valerie Sital was there when you went there, when you came there?
I taught Rani Sital in grade.
Valerie, no, Valerie Sital, not Valerie Sital.
Say again?
No, that's not Valerie Sital.
I think that's her first name.
Okay.
Indian lady.
Yes.
Yeah, she was there in our time.
Yeah, she was there. She was there in our time.
Right.
She was a good teacher. She was a very good teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
She was the head. Right. Very
Biology,
good.
I think,
Right. She was the head for the
Excellent.
science department. Yeah, she
Okay.
was the head for the science department. So I saw her. I saw Mrs. Polak, guidance counselor. I saw Miss Hamilton and Mr. What's his name again? Mr. Gordon, who were there as physical education teachers. And when I came, the year I started, this other teacher, Jacko, Mr. Jackson, who everybody called Jacko, he left the year because I started in September and he left in the summer. And you had Mr. Bailey, who also left before I started. So there were good teachers and still have good teachers there today. I mean, it's the standards still maintained because Meadowbrook High School is known to nurture students. So when they come and we will get them at one level and they leave at a higher level. So because of that nurturing and care that we put into the students, yeah, we go the extra mile. Still today, teachers are really dedicated to the cause.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, Miss Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear
Me
that.
too, Jerry, because that's a tradition where I can relate to. Because as I said earlier, is when I go to Meadowbrook, I was at Meadowbrook at the time. That's the thing where it strike out to me the most. Is like it felt like a family settings. It's like it's not a teacher. It's like your bigger brother and sister teach you, and I take you under them wings and I show you certain things. That's the feeling.
And-
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Deane.
And one of the things too, I mean, I concur in terms of the teachers, and the academic part is one. I think we can probably come back to another component later on. But to me, another part of Meadowbrook is the other staff, the administrative staff. I mean, the bursar and the secretaries. I mean, and I think I can speak for other teachers certainly at the time. It was an excellent relationship. I mean,
Right.
The bursar. There was
Mrs. Campbell when I was there.
Yeah,
Mrs. Campbell,
yeah.
right?
And then Mr. Watson
Right,
came
Mrs. Campbell.
afterwards.
And then
Right.
Mr. Watson.
And then the secretary,
Mrs. Smith.
Smith, who had two children there, Alison and
Derek, I think his name.
Derek.
Derek.
Right.
You had an older
I mean,
brother there when I
very,
went
very
there. You had an older brother.
excellent relationship, very good relationship. Not to mention
Andre.
the ancillary
they were the
staff.
eldest.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and the relationship was so. I remember Mr. Senior. I don't know how those names just come to me so easily.
The groundsman.
Mr. Senior,
The groundsman for the school, yes.
Yeah,
Live on
I
campus
forget
there,
him.
Yeah.
And I think he had a son there, Christopher. I
Yeah,
think.
Christopher. Baba was his nickname. Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And those names come to me so easily. But if all of that to me made Meadowbrook what it was and probably still is, that there were people like that around that made being at Meadowbrook so much more pleasant and
Absolutely, Lennox. And I
Okay.
will add to that. Mr. Pecker, who sold the
Right.
things
I
at
was just
lunchtime.
going to mention.
the only reason I didn't mention him, I couldn't remember his name.
Take
Yes,
on with the
yes.
Because
dumpling.
I have to say that I can still taste
Yes, man.
his callaloo sandwich.
Callaloo
It
and
was-
dumpling.
No man, his callaloo sandwich was just I never tasted nothing like that yet.
Yeah. And he was like a
Excellent.
member of the family. He was like
Yes.
Pekka would give people credit, would give students
Yes.
credit. He was like a father to the kids.
But
Yes.
but Jerry,
Wonderful.
let me ask you
Wonderful.
something though. I'm glad you bring up Pekka right there, because I'm a bit curious and say, when did Pekka come on Meadowbrook first? You remember that?
Yeah, from when I was there as a student.
So you
at
go to go
least
see
from-
him? That's what I'm asking. You
No
went to
student,
Meadowbrook and see
really?
him?
Okay. I went to
Alright,
Meadowbrook and see him.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
so-
so. I would if I didn't see him there, he came there. So in the beginning, he was outside. They wouldn't let
Yes,
him
he-
inside.
Yeah, man, I remember that. We talked about
Right.
that from the thing. In the 80s, we had to revolt because they wanted to lock when they build the wall, I want to leave Pekka
Oh.
outside. I would say
Right.
no. That not go happen
And
at
he
all.
came in.
And
Right.
yeah, but
Ackland's wall.
yeah, I do that. I remember now. I go there go see him to Jerry. That's why I asked, but quite remember when he came.
He probably was there when I was there.
He was there when I
probably-
came. When I
Yeah,
was there.
yeah,
Definitely,
as a
Mr. Deane.
student.
I saw him in
68.
1997 where he was a part of the
Yeah,
institution as well.
maybe.
Yeah. So,
While I was a student, he was there. I'm not absolutely sure if he was there when I just started, but during my course at Meadowbrook as a student, he was there definitely.
so Miss Johnson, you know Pekka?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, because I was just
Wow.
mentioning Pekka.
Yeah, well,
He-
Miss Johnson's been there for what, 21 years
But
now?
yeah.
That's a good number.
I saw Pekka. He didn't stay long when I came, because I think that same year he left. He was asked to leave.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right.
by the administration.
Yes, I believe so, because the canteen.
That
And
is.
we had no, because what happened is and he was getting up in age as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I would think
And,
so.
and so, yeah, and then we the canteen, the PTA had refurbished the canteen, and so they now put a sixth form block, because we have the sixth form block now, which is on top of the canteen. And so the PTA refurbished the canteen, and we started to centralize the food coming from the canteen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so the students were encouraged to
To make
buy
him
food.
redundant.
Yes, buy from the canteen.
I think
But I must say, I mean, looking from the outside, I'm not really pleased with that. But
Yeah.
I guess that's the price of progress. I don't know. But,
yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, and first of all, like I said, he was getting up in age, and so he wasn't thrown out. He was graciously asked that based on this happening, and so he closed his business.
Well, you know
And
what, Jerry? We're not privileged information. Maybe we get a decent
probably because there was
Separation.
Package,
Separation.
right.
what do you call it, severance pay.
Yeah,
Well, boy, you would certainly deserve. You would certainly
If I may
deserve it. I tell
interject,
you.
sorry there. He was also honored by the Past Student Association.
Oh, really?
Okay.
When
Oh,
that happened?
nice.
I didn't know that. When did that happen, Miss Johnson?
It happened, let me see, about 2003.
Oh, really?
Okay.
The cafe go there.
Yeah,
That is
around
great.
that time. Right, because there's a picture of him getting an award
Okay.
that is on their site. So he was honored. I think around the same time, Mr. McGregor was also honored by the association. And you have another long-standing caretaker who was there, Manios.
Yes. Somebody was talking about him. I know exactly what you're talking. Yeah.
Yes, Manios. Manios remembers everyone, knows every key on Meadowbrook compound. Even if it changed a lot, he knows.
He was there. He was there when I was there.
Yeah,
So
man,
he's been there
yes,
for
yeah.
a long time.
And honestly, it is so sad because I don't even remember what Manios' real name is, because everybody comes.
Clinton something.
Yes,
Clinton
Jerry.
something.
Clinton was in first name for true. Yes.
Clinton, I can't remember his last name, but Mr. Top always called him by his first name.
Call him Manios, and him always a rap and a sing.
Yes.
And it's always a rap and a sing. He was also honored by the Past Student Association. He died, I think, a year ago, if not 2 years ago. Because when he retired, yes, he went back, because he's from St. Elizabeth.
Uh-huh.
He retired, he went home, and he lived up quite a while until he passed, about 2 years ago. So Manius was really good. So I went and I saw those persons.
Okay.
That's excellent information, Miss Johnson. Because I was wondering what happened to Pekka. Oh, Pekka, if Pekka still at the school. I didn't think he was still at, because it's 40 years I know. And he was older than me, I'm Jerry. So
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard that he had left, but I thought he was like, old age or,
yeah.
retirement.
You could call it basically old age,
Yeah,
because
because he must have been up there. He must have
yeah,
been up
man, he
there.
was up there, and so the safety of the student and himself,
Hmm.
and so like you said, we don't know what happened, but I know when I came, one day or so, or if the other week, I did see him and inquired and said that he no longer selling, but he had his cart right by the tree
yeah,
across
man.
from where
Yeah,
we
man.
have
By the
the clock.
netball court. Yes.
Right there
Mhm.
with him like a cart
Yeah, man.
and thing.
Yeah, man.
Hmm.
And
Remember?
the person said him dumpling was well worth it. Dumpling was big.
Food and saltfish fritters.
Oh,
Don't forget
Mhm.
that.
yes, the smoke of them, they said it
Jerry,
was good.
everybody have a memory of Pekka, because you know eat bread back in yard, but you want Pekka bread back,
All right, bread and cheese
Yeah.
sandwich was also. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's good context, Mr. Johnson, for tell about Pekka, because I had no idea what became of Pekka, and I think based on what you say, he had catch up with him and then probably just offer him a nice, decent package with us, for me, because he would have deserved it to Jerry. He would have deserved that, because
Yeah, definitely. The fabric, part of the fabric of that
yeah,
school.
man, it's part of the
No
Yes,
doubt.
indeed.
no doubt at
History,
all. Yeah.
right?
It was definitely a staple.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. So Mr. Deane, when
Yes,
you come
sir.
on at Meadowbrook now, in Meadowbrook now, not even come on, but during the time at Meadowbrook, I'll put the question this way. Who are some of the students that really stand out to you and I say, right, I put it this way.
Alright.
The student them were tested then. And tests can be more than one way. It's like them test you intellectually and them test you by your patient.
That's a hard one. A hard one you're giving me there, Glista. It's a really hard one. There are a few that I can recall. I don't know if testing is the right word. I didn't really have any challenge with students generally. I mean, there were one or two that kind of attempted to give some trouble, but I just nicked that when it came. Because what happened is that I really believe that as a teacher, you need to set your standards. And I try to set mine early and that people know what I expect. And I never really had any problem. In terms of students that I can recall, well, I mean, there was one group that I had. I mean, economics, as Jerry said, it can be a difficult subject at A level because it requires both a quantitative appreciation as well as a good English. So it's a challenging subject. There are people who are good at English who are poor at maths, some persons who are good at maths, not so good at English, and it really requires both. But in terms of a standout, I mean, well, it's not just me. I think they recognized for her performance, Cavell Frightening.
Okay, the Rhodes Scholar.
Right.
Up class.
Rhodes Scholar. Excellent student.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
the interesting thing about that class, that group that I had with Cavell, is that there was a very interesting, I would say, a battle, and I appreciate that students perform better very often when they have a challenge within the class. And it was between her and this other student named Oral Shaw.
Yeah, he was on the podcast. He was talking to somebody last week. Timon was.
Okay.
Timon.
Yeah,
They were concurring what he said, because what Oral said, and to come out the week before, because last week I talked to Timon, and Jerry knew Timon well. And I didn't even know this either, Jerry, that Timon said used to be like, same thing when I talk about Mr. Deane. That particular class you're talking about, I think they graduate 6th form in 83.
Yes.
I don't know what year that would be like maybe 80. I think there were 2 years below me. Like them 81 was the graduating class. That to me, you're right, Mr. Deane, is the most competitive set of students ever come up through Meadowbrook. Yes. And that year produced a two Rhodes Scholar. Yes, you're right, Bob.
Yes.
But continue, Mr. Deane. Yeah.
Oral was really he was very, very good. I mean, if you have an experience with Oral, I don't know if he has changed much, but he loves to make pronouncements, and he loves to speak as if he's on a platform.
Definitely.
No, wait, we're laughing at Mr. Deane. Oral and I had the most vociferous debates
Yeah, man.
during that
He
famous
loved
election of
to speak.
1980, where I was on one
Yes.
side and I was on the other side. So every morning,
Okay.
so I know exactly what you're
Interesting.
talking now.
I'm not surprised. Yes, he loved to speak. So that
Yeah.
when in class, when he started, and then Clavel was shutting down, and then so they were very, very competitive. And I
Yeah,
think they got some, both of them. The class got some excellent grades in economics.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the grades are always good, but that year was a particularly good year. But the other people that I can I mean, there's so many students I can remember, I can recall. I mean, those stand out for me. But the time was just good. I mean, I remember most of my students. Right now I'm in touch with quite a few of them. I mean, it's just recently that we touched base. So I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember your brother. I remember,
Mm-hmm.
so many
Patrick.
others. Margaret Livermore,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Andrea White, Aaron Miller. So many others that I can,
Yeah, we have
but one of
a good crop.
yes, the interesting thing is that I think the first class that I had, I mentioned 2A earlier, had some really good students there. Might be it's because my first small group,
Mm-hmm.
because I took them from young through to their sixth form afterwards. So that group was very special for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Donald Dixon,
You grew up, yes. That's a
right?
bright at a group. That's what you're talking
Right.
about. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
think Winston, right? I don't know his surname. And but I remember Donald Dixon well, very, very right. And there's a Zandra Sutherland, I think.
Yeah,
Some other names.
yeah.
But I mean, if I saw them now, I could. But really, over the years, I really had some real good students and
Let
good
me ask you something.
reference.
Let me ask you something. Because the start just come to me and listen to you. And when I heard Oral and Timon last week and they say it, and I attest to that. My question is, do you think that those students made Meadowbrook or Meadowbrook made them?
I think it's a little of both.
Yeah, it would be a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a little of both. I mean, if in terms of people, I mean, to make that comment, I'd have to look on persons who are coming into Meadowbrook,
Mm-hmm.
like from first or second. I didn't teach
Or
first
put the
form.
question this way. Put the question. You think Meadowbrook was lucky if you get a batch of student like that then? Or it was like, but leave it at that.
I would say it's a little of both. Because, and I would say that Meadowbrook was fortunate to get those students, but I think Meadowbrook honed them. Meadowbrook developed the students, both in terms of the teachers that we spoke about earlier, the environment. I don't know how I can go through talking about Meadowbrook and not talking about the principal. That was in my time, Mr. Thorpe in the first place, and then Miss McLennan. That Meadowbrook runs through her veins. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that could love Meadowbrook like Miss McLennan.
Yeah.
She loved Meadowbrook with a passion.
Well, you have to remember, Lennox, that when Meadowbrook started by Reverend Ward, I think Miss McLennan was on that staff.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The very first in the beginning, so she is almost vested in Meadowbrook.
Yes.
Like, I mean, and what Lennox said is true. That she was. It wasn't a job to her. It wasn't.
No, it was not.
It was her life. It was her life. Her family.
Yes, it was.
Everything.
That's true.
All those children were her children. Like, I don't think Miss McLennan had any biological children of her own, and it's probably a good thing, because she had like about 10,000 children at Meadowbrook at some point in time.
And she knew most of them by them name.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just touching on a point that you made earlier, Miss Johnson, that I noted, and now is a good time to say it, that Miss Johnson was saying that Meadowbrook is a nurturing school, and Miss McLennan is just that. That is what Miss McLennan was, and if Meadowbrook is a nurturing school, I believe that she probably passed that down to the philosophy in some respect, and I'm very happy that people like Miss Johnson are carrying that on, that tradition on.
Because I will tell you too, I didn't get to meet Miss McLennan in person. But I've heard of her, the famous spanner, as they call
Yes.
her. And she passed on. I think it was earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I had the honor, I do call it an honor, to attend her funeral. And the accolades and how they spoke of her was really touching. And what she has done for Meadowbrook High School I was totally moved. And there was one when I went to Meadowbrook High School, I learned of this. And being a form teacher, because I'm now a senior teacher in charge of co-curricular activities there. And when I started out being a form teacher, I would say to my form that, you are as good as any and you are better than many. And I was told that that was something that Miss McLennan would say to the students, that, that is what you need to profess. And so those students, and I more think that at the time, around those times, students choose Meadowbrook because they know of the school, they know of the capabilities and the nurturing quality. They heard of the environment in which they can develop. And so when in the early 80s, when we produced the two Rhodes Scholars, and we were saying that Meadowbrook was on tops, it's not just academic alone, but sports was doing well. So it was a rounded environment. And students were happy to be a part of that Meadowbrook family because they know once they come in, when they leave, they're going to be so rounded. I too can speak because I've had one particular student. She was awarded third place overall in Jamaica for principles of business for being in the top 5, and so she got third overall, and I was so elated.
Wow.
Yes. Also, too, I can recall when I started teaching accounts at the advanced level, the first year, I mean, those students were so eager. They test in a good way in terms of academic. If I go with a question and I said, all right, let me tell, no, miss, don't work it. They work the questions down to until they could. It was so encouraging. That year, I got 100% pass in accounting, my first year teaching advanced accounting. The students were really working, they were so good. And it's not just any pass at the lowest grade, because I got in advanced level was grade 3. They go up to grade 5, but the lowest 2 persons or 3 persons got a grade 3, and everybody was like 1s and 2s. It was so good because of the environment in which they come. They realize that you are forced to work. So you can't slack off. You come and you see persons, you're clicking. You just have to click with them. And competition really does push students. So if you find somebody is in there that you can compete with, you are going to want to compete. And of course, there were challenges when it comes to indiscipline, I can tell you. Students will challenge me, and I tell you why. Because they knew I was in charge of cadets. And so they knew what I represent was discipline, because the cadets are supposed to be disciplined, because when we're on parade and we're doing our thing, we're so uniform and so sharp and neat. And because of that, they would like to challenge them and say, oh, let me see if she's going to say. And so when I give the instruction, they're like, oh, miss, you're not talking to one of your cadets. And I said, I know, because if I talk to one, I just need to say my instruction once and my cadet execute. I have to say more than once, and if I go the third time, then I'm going to treat you like a cadet. I'm going to issue the punishment. And so there were challenges. Trust me, they would want to talk, but you have to hold the rein, because if you don't do that, then they're going to consider you as a teacher that they can run around. And so you have to have, like, Dr. McLennan, she would say, the tough love. She love you, but you're going to get the tough love, because she's going to correct you, but she's going to show you that nurturing and caring aspect, the love. So yes, I've heard great things when it comes to Dr. McLennan. She was really...
Yeah, go ahead, Lennox.
One of the things, if I could just put a spin on this, is that I don't think that I don't think that many students saw Miss McLennan as a nurturing person. If I could just put that out there. Okay? Yes, I think they probably saw her. I know that tyrant is strong, But
About the
I
care.
mean, I have a visual of her right now, standing up there like a marshal, looking at students. Where you coming from? I mean, so she was almost like, well, a cadet leader in a sense. She was really that type of but she really cared for students.
No, but
She really cared for them.
I tend to disagree. She was
No, no,
very
no, 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 no. Must understand what I'm saying. I'm saying, I'm not saying that she didn't. I'm saying a lot of students
Mhm.
did not see her in that light
Okay.
because she was really a very strict person. She was very strict.
Let me address that though, because I tell you, I think where that come from, Mr. Deane and Mr. Johnson, with Miss McLennan. Because you're right, Mr. Deane. And you're right, Mr. Johnson. Because what happened, Mr. McLennan have high standards.
Yes.
And it's like the student them which expect high standards from. She not gonna play with them at all.
That's right.
She demand the high standard. The one them where she no need help, she going to be a mother to them. If you listen to the story, the Hazel, right? When Hazel tell me her story, Mr. McLennan, take her under her wings because Hazel needed somebody like Mr. McLennan. I didn't know the story. Miss McLennan that treat me just like you said, Mr. Deane. When you tell me the story, I was shocked. I never know that side of Miss McLennan, but she looked at me and I said, no. You know for be better than that. Said, me need you demand high standard from me. And most of the students them. So that was the thing. Because my sister used to come and tell me about Miss McLennan, And my sister went to Meadowbrook in the 1960s before Jerry. And she come home and the one I remember over and over, and Miss McLennan that come. My sister come and tell me, say, Miss McLennan tell the girls or the boys, say, you're just sitting there, you're doing nothing. When you come to Meadowbrook, you're not a furniture. You must do something.
I've heard of that. I've heard.
Yeah, she was. Lennox is right. Miss McLennan had that very
Yes.
very tough exterior and
Yes,
strictness,
she did.
but what she did was she would research the backstories of students
Yeah,
and
Jerry,
the
right.
ones who needed help. She
Yes.
found a way, and she would do it in private, just like how Hazel told you that story about how she helped her in many ways. I know personally a couple of other people who were in different situations that required special treatment, and she did.
Alfred and Miss Johnson, when you hear from story
Right.
about Miss McLennan, Hitchcock, he opened the talk about that. So you're right,
Yes,
Jerry. Go
But
ahead, Jerry.
but as Lennox said, as Lennox,
who would have opened this, spoke about her and how she would guide them. They spoke to say that she ruled with an iron fist. Yeah,
oh she did,
but
oh
the
she
one
did.
who needed her nurturing got it. Because
Yeah, she
some
would
of the
help them. She
people
would help them.
that that boy, somebody always say Miss McKenna must love me, because when she see me it's like I can't do any wrong, but me know because she scolded me, but she's not going to do it out like that. She called me and they said that you can know when she's coming because her shoes, like she have a particular shoes that she wear and they say clunk clunk clunk. So once you hear that, you know that she's coming. So you have whatever you're doing, you have to stop. You cannot afford her to catch you doing anything that you're not supposed to. Right? So yes, she ruled the iron fist, but she provided love for persons who
The soft
needed
touch,
it.
Yeah, Jerry, you had finished?
Yes, I was pretty much. She was tough on the outside and definitely wanted to convey that personality, but I think that she also cared about. She would take the time to find out what students needed what and offer it. But definitely, if you're doing something wrong and she was coming down the hallway, you would be well advised to.
You would know about it.
Yeah.
Or you have to look out, the boys, they were on the lookout and say, spanner
Yeah,
come and scatter,
Yep, everything stopped. Unlike Mr. Thorpe, no, you're that kind of quiet
Nice guy.
authority.
Yeah, man.
But Mr.
A quiet authority, like not a very loud voice, but you do not step the wrong way.
You know
with
in
him.
charge of Mr.
Right.
Top, and him dog would have give him away. Yeah, that's him dog before you know him coming
Yes,
around.
that's right.
Yeah, but it's good to know that Miss McLennan Ghost lives in Meadowbrook because based on Miss
Yes.
Johnson say, I am very happy to hear that. When I started doing this, I'm saying I wonder if Meadowbrook say the same in terms of the culture and the nurturing spirit and the demand for excellence. I was wondering that, Mr. Jones, because I have not been there. I don't know. I've been out of touch since I started this podcast and I reached out back to all the people. I've been out of touch for so long. And I'm happy for you that you confirmed to me, say, yeah, Miss McLennan Ghost lives on in Meadowbrook, and I'm happy for you that because
the nurturing is there. I mean, there are some things that could have been done differently. There are things that needs to change. I just believe in terms of the culture. The nurturing on the teacher side is there. The student wanting to learn is there. The student putting out their best to, is there. Of course, you're going to have the anomalies, the ones who are outside of that, who will give a little trouble here and there that you have to pull and you have to take them to the dean. I mean, what is a school without all of that? So they help add to the dynamics of the school environment, but for me, I just need more persons to buy into a culture. We need a Meadowbrook culture. I'm still not seeing that coming from the current students.
But let me get into that now, because I think this is why, in a sense, I'm glad we have both of you on the program here. I'm going to ask Mr. Deane this question. Because Mr. Deane wasn't necessarily as close to the cricket team as Jerry, right? And the cricket team were very successful on the football team in the 1980s. So let me ask Mr. Deane this then. Were you surprised when Meadowbrook started to do so well in sports?
No. I'm not surprised. I mean, the foundation was there from the beginning. I see it coming up. We mentioned Neville earlier.
Yes.
He fancied himself as a bowler.
Jerry,
Very well put. Very well put.
No, I like where you put that. That is a great foot. Jerry, Pat from Dwayne Park will beg to differ, right?
Right.
Fancy. That is quite unique.
Fancied himself as a bowler, and I know he did some work along with the team at one point. And then I certainly remember Mike here, who I know did a lot of work with the team, not just cricket, but generally.
What I'm saying, before this whole time, not even correct, but let's reinforce some more, Mr. Beckford. Mr. Beckford did some work. Mr. Beckford, to me personally, was the integral part in terms of starting a legacy we will build up and win so much. Because I want to tell you,
yes,
before Mr. Beckford started coaching.
As Red Jed?
No,
he's not Red Jed.
No, the Dread came after Mr. Beckford. But they work together. They work together for years.
Yeah, they work together.
Right? But Mr. Beckford was here about a year before Mr. Year. Right? The Dread.
I met them about 2 years before.
Yeah, but I have always respect for Mr. Beckford because Mr. Beckford didn't come there as a coach. He came there as a chemistry teacher.
No, that's right.
But
Yes.
Mr. Tarp asked him to coach a cricket team. And it's so that cricket team coach, I was a part of that cricket team, which he took to the quarters final, Miss Johnson, in 1977. Right? And it's the first time I ever reached a competitive schoolboy final at any level in 1977. And the fact that Mr. Beckford took a team. And him never have no fourth farmer on the team. It just pure second and third farmer I had on the team.
No.
And when I asked him about it, I say, but Prince, him did just want people were committed. And him look for the future then. That's the beauty about Becky. That's all I know him at. And I have a whole heap of respect. If it wasn't for him, I'm going to say this over and over, I wouldn't be playing cricket. Because I know what he did. He started to pick the team on merit. And that meant a whole heap to me. So even if you're not good enough, you come and train and play hard enough, you get a game. And I will never forget that because, may I tell you, and I had such a high respect for that man. Up to this day. You see,
I would second that, without a doubt. Becky was one of the early, was really the pioneer.
The pioneer, Jerry, that's the right word, yes.
Yes, right. But I definitely have him there as a part of the foundation for the cricket, as I mentioned.
Well, while we're on the subject of cricket, though, let I don't want to forget this point. You said that Lennox wasn't really around the cricket team. Well, Lennox would come to a few matches, but Lennox participated on the staff cricket team.
Yes.
I remember a particular match.
Oh, you remember that match, Derry?
Yeah, Lennox
when Alfred bowled me and I made that straight drive past him and him.
Yeah, that's one, right? But Freddie, Freddie, Jelly, Freddie and him half break.
Took a lollipop, yes.
So when Lennox back drive him, to the boundary, and then when we were in the field though, that Mr. Deane there you hear talking about economics. I think he ran out about 2 men with direct hits to the
Yeah.
stumps.
Okay.
Yes.
In that square leg one day, 2 guys made a mistake. The ball almost in Lennox hand, and them
Yeah,
take him
Mr. Dean,
single.
man, so them sometimes make him run.
Yeah.
But direct hit
Yeah.
Yeah.
Viv Richards.
Yeah.
So I would always remember that.
Yeah,
That,
but I mean,
that Lennox was
they
excellent.
wouldn't have known
that
that
day.
I used to play cricket at one point, right? Notwithstanding my economics focus,
Right?
and I
Well-
always loved the game. So that straight drive, I do remember Alfred's face when I did the straight drive was in.
Don't worry, Lennox. Don't worry. Freddie, my friend. Freddie is my good friend, but Freddie accustomed to that.
Yeah. Of course, I have to be straight dribbling. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Freddie has accomplished many such feats.
Yeah. So you weren't surprised at all, Mr. Dean, that the school, in terms of because
Surprised. I mean, I saw the foundation there, and I'm always impressed with the commitment. I mean, we talk about Neville, we talk about Mr. Michael here,
the
and
dread,
there are a number
yeah.
of other people. And even though we just talked a while ago, even though what's his name just slipped me, teach maths again. It is still I used to be there for a long time. We just mentioned his name a while
Which
ago.
guy?
Rory.
Rory.
Even though Rory did not play cricket, I recall his impeccable scoring system. I mean, I was just to marvel at how he was committed to it, and it seemed
Yep.
like a small thing, but I think those things
No.
build a culture and an appreciation for the game. It was not a
Hold
slapdash
on.
thing.
Let-
I'm just putting two things together.
No, remember mention that it's not because I want to leave out Rory. I want him to come tell him story on him own. But I can talk about Rory in terms of like as part of that sports team, not that sports era. He was an integral part because
Hey, man.
and by that time, not just a scorer, Mr. Dean. And with a follow team go with when I hear somebody
Yes.
youth them attack with a cold spot them would go and them not back down from nobody at all. And more importantly,
Yes.
and Jerry can
And of course, when he don't back down, him
Yeah,
him out
yeah,
at
yeah.
another field. Yeah.
we not go hold it against him. Him go a different school with a different color from North Street. We're not holding that against him, just like you, Mr. Dean. Him come and him love Meadowbrook and say Meadowbrook,
Yes.
and it's like him love Meadowbrook more. I don't know say more, but I'm saying him love Meadowbrook as much as that famous institution where we used to go. I will not call him name. So no man, because Rory now, let me tell you something now with Rory now,
Yeah, man,
Mr.
yeah.
Dean. Rory provided a mouthpiece from beyond the boundary, as I like to call
Yes.
it. You see
Yes.
me, I said, Jerry, so you know exactly what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, you know. Even though him not playing, it's like him take on, and him was a protector in terms of say, him not make
Yes.
nobody, and I didn't, I thought it was the cricket team alone. But when I hear somebody with him talk about the cold football match, I follow man,
Yeah.
him a fight man hard, and him a fight man excel, I said, right, but yeah. The short man, you know, because I never grow tall at all.
No, it's very short, vertically challenged.
And you wouldn't want him. And you wouldn't want him to take you on in a
No,
verbal match.
Nope.
Definitely not. Definitely not. No, man, when I don't call the name of Mr. Dean, I never forget Rory and Mr. Bedford, man. And Mr. Year, as you say now, is an integral
Yeah.
part. So Miss Johnson, you come and you hear about Mr. Year. What was the impression you get about, before you got this up, when you come on Meadowbrook, were you aware of the exploits of Meadowbrook in the 1980s? The amount, and this last week, when I talked to the governor of the Jerry, 1986, I think, if I remember serving right, we won 4 cup in a 1 year. Were you aware of those exploits, Miss Johnson? That Meadowbrook won 4 competitive schoolboy trophy in 1 year.
Yeah, because you guys want to play Walker Cup.
Walker Cup, Nutriment Shield,
Yeah.
Sunlight Cup, and Walker Cup in a
Yeah.
1 year.
And in a 1 year, because I'm a lover of sports, and as you mentioned, Warren McGregor, my good friend, we still keep in touch, and he spoke highly of what the school did in the 80s in terms of sports. And so coming on, I work with the sports department, and I will manage the football team and the track and field team. I really try with the cricket because I don't understand cricket, but once you pour it and the students invite me, I tend to go and look, and I say, okay, what do you mean by a slip? and oh, what is that? And they would explain. Good, but sports overall really had its place. And so in the 80s, when I get and I hear of those glory days, I drum up support and trying to get the students who are talented in those areas. I encourage them. I said, you are now the face of Meadowbrook High School. Once you represent the school, you are the face of Meadowbrook High School. So you know that your behavior has to be in line, your academic has to, if you need help, because you not gonna be the best of everything, yeah? And we can work with that. So if you need help, you come and you ask. And so when I went, I heard of the Shelley and Gallimore set, and the something like that Brothworth in name. I don't remember his first name. Those set with track and field. I heard of oh gosh, his name again. He was on your program, John Mayer. I met him, like Olympian John Mayer, and we spoke. I heard of those persons. I'm like, we can bring this back because we do get the talent. Let me tell you, Lester, we get the talent. Students pick from Meadowbrook High School who are talented, and so we want to harness these talents, because if we don't, it's after them finish grade 7 and they're going into grade 8, other school just come and just snatch them out of our hands. And by the time you look there at this school, that the school, don't even want to call them school and name. Even the one further down the road from us.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
take
we
them
know this
away.
one. When we said when Lennox go to, yes, we're not going to call him name,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, don't call the
And
name.
so, yeah, we get the talents and we use. I know the glory days. I remember the one in for small school. I was doing some cleaning, and they brought 2 of the pen shields to me that the school had won back to back in the small school 4x1 female relay. Shelley and Gallimore was done that team. Also, her long jump record for class 3 is still on the books for Issa Meadowbrook, and I'm just so proud. And every year she will come down for chance to check on our record, and we keep in touch. I remember us as the track team for years. We have not been to a Gibson final, and that year, I believe it was 2016, we went to a Gibson final. I mean, granted, we were placed 8, but the fact in going there again was tremendous. I have received scholarship for, students who are on the track team get scholarship, football team. I worked with, and you will talk to Wayne Campbell, Wayne Beanie Campbell.
Yeah, man.
I've worked
My good
with
friend.
him.
Me and him started
Yeah,
around the same year, too, yes.
work with him and see how he operates and he encourage. So it's just to get the students to buy into winning. And once they buy into winning, then they can get back there, because we do get the talent. It's just for them to believe in themselves that they can do it for both cricket. Because I can tell you, we won the Craven. I think it was a Cravenhill Shield in cricket that year with some very talented cricketers. And Mr. McGregor was part of the coaching
Panel.
staff.
Yeah.
Who went with that team. And you had Mr. Gordon, Alfred know him very well, and this teacher who is now deceased, Mr. Heaven. They work with the team that year, and they won the Craveney Shield. And the picture is there in the school. It is so good. I had proposed to previous administration in that to put up like a display area where the students come in and they can see these
The achievements.
these achievements that the school has gathered. Somebody said, but Miss, it's so far back. I said, it doesn't matter. The fact that we were there means that we can get back there. You now have to carry the torch. You have to carry the mantle, because we want All Together Sing. Meadowbrook won All Together Sing, which is a music competition. When we went to JCDC, we won gold. We won National Region Award for music, for dance. So we are a rounded cultural school. Sports, art, the culinary aspect of it, we put on I Stepford, which portrays students' talent in the performing arts, the culinary arts, and the visual art. And persons were excited, and that is why I just believe that students chose Meadowbrook, and because there are students who are still choosing Meadowbrook, we have to protect that legacy that was built. We have to protect it. And so the ones who are there we have to encourage, and that is why I speak so strongly about the culture. The culture need a little pep.
I
It
need
need
a little
May
rib.
I ask?
this
May
man,
I
it
ask you,
need
Miss
some
Johnson? May I ask you, Miss Johnson? What do you think is needed to develop that culture that you speak of? What concrete actions you think could be taken to develop that more keenly among the students?
Okay, I want more. I mean, not saying that the past students not doing, but I want them to come and cement their presence
Mm-hmm.
more in the school for the students. Good for them to see them more frequent because we have a local chapter, and so they can come in. So you not just come when they come in first form and they see you and you speak for an hour, and then that's it. You need more activities, so more integration, whether sports wise, academic wise, all around, more integration. Also, that the school itself need to be a little bit more supportive in terms of the students' talent.
And
We
school,
need,
they said school, you talk about administration.
yeah, administration,
Mm-hmm.
right? Need to be a little bit more supportive in terms of building the students more in terms of their talents, getting them to that point. So it takes everybody pulling together,
Mm-hmm.
teachers, students, class students, the PTA, right? So we have to create that synergy. And so far, what I'm getting currently, no, we don't have that synergy. It does seem as if we're just going in
But
different directions. So we
yeah,
have to get back.
but let me challenge you back with a question, Jerry, because you were there when
Mm-hmm.
they did it first in the 1980s, and we didn't have nothing to look back on. It's not like we look back and say Meadowbrook did this and that. These set of students have something to look back on. What did you do, Jerry, in terms of what did we do? I was just a student at the time. I don't know one of those past student, but I'm saying a culture, and this go for you too, Mr. Deane. A culture was developed where Meadowbrook actually could have compete and did not go on for win a whole heap of things. What did you guys do different, Jerry?
Well, I think that there was. I can't speak of what took place before that period and then what happened when we were, successful.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It was there was no there was no real organization, to win any kind of team sport in any institution requires building a team around the
Yeah,
team.
that's
So you
right.
have a very strong management team.
That's
And
right.
and when I was playing cricket at Meadowbrook in the early days, there was no real coach. And if there was a coach, there was no students or no teachers who were really beyond the coach who were really even interested. Remember when we were at Meadowbrook, I was doing a lot of the logistical things. Becky was supporting Mike in many ways. Rory, as you said, was defending the team, and we had a little, a group. I remember we even got some of the girls. I mean, when the team was going to the semifinals, people like Sean Robinson and those girls, I got them to come and help, like serve the team breakfast on the days of the big matches and so on. All those things, I guess it transmitted to the team that, we are interested in you, we are supporting you, and we believe in you. I think that always has to be done. I think that what Miss Johnson is saying, though, is that having had this success, maybe if the students actually heard from you as a man who led that first Sunlight, or the Gobblers, or anybody was involved, or even people like me, who was there, I think that might encourage them to look. You have a legacy. You have you have a history already. Live up to it, kind of thing. Because things happen. Because look at the West Indies team. I mean, I know it's a horrible example, but it's probably a true one.
It's a good example in a sense, Jerry, because it's the same falling off. I say,
right.
Did
Look
it
at the
before.
West Indies team.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was that caused that success with the Holding and Richards and era, but look at them now. Look at how we are now.
You know what to do, Jerry. I listen to Mr. Johnson, and I want to comment on this, Mr. Deane. The West Indies team is an unfair comparison, because when I talk to Kraken, I say, and I'm right, West Indies team had immense amount of talent. talent and a Meadowbrook problem. Miss Holmes Johnson says not talent are the problem. The people have still
No,
come very
yeah, we
talented.
get the talent. We
Says
get the
that
talent.
I think West Indies have a talent problem, or overabundant a talent problem in the 80s, Jerry. So it was easy to pick a good team. Meadowbrook never have no whole talent, but we created great teams.
No.
But no, the talent is not.
And then I should also add to that. I should also add to the success, and as Lennox pointed out earlier. Becky and Mike. I mentioned Becky, but Mike here was like a Zen master.
Yes.
Mike here would get you to believe in yourself. Man was a psychologist, was a sports coach, and he was actually a technical coach. Mike would take people like Graham Roden, lovely guy. Graham was a good boy. If you ask Graham wasn't even that interested in cricket. But Graham was tall, and Graham could get the ball to bounce. And next thing you know, Graham is an opening fast bowler and doing well.
Graham was a part of that team. I have him come up on the podcast. Him and go say
yes.
Yeah.
Great guy. And I mean, people who, as you said earlier, were not necessarily gifted, born with immense talent. But Mike could teach them to be disciplined. I remember Dougie Crooks came on this program. I was telling you how Mike said, "Look, Dougie, just try and batter for half an hour. Don't try and make 15 the first. Nobody had told Dougie that before. So I think things like that. I think Mike had a plan, and he was able to get you guys, and you can speak to that better than I can because you were actually one of his team members who he was speaking directly to you, and you were the captain. But I am sure that what Mike did is something that is important, but I don't know, not everyone can do it. You get the kid to believe in themselves, and then develop the standard that Lennox spoke of before earlier. Set your standards for them. Like, I think that you, Prince, are able to make centuries and half centuries in Sunlight Cup matches. You need to go and do it.
Yeah,
maybe you never believe you could do it before.
No. It is more than that though. But before I comment on that, because I want to comment on it. But Mr. Deane, your thoughts in terms of say Meadowbrook have not continued the result they have in the 1980s, and it's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of talent.
Yeah, first of all, I think Jerry said it. Between the combination of Jerry and Miss Johnson and yourself, let us face it. All schools have talent.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you mentioned some names a while ago. I mean, I remember Glenn.
Hopkins, yeah.
Glenn Hopkins. Right. I mean, awesome bowler. I do remember Douglas Crooks. I never saw him as any big batsman, but he had a casual style that did him very well.
Yeah.
And there were many others there. So the talent is there. The talent is always going to be there. And by Alfred, I mean, what I'm seeing recall about Alfred in particular, and so is the serious commitment that he had, and I believe that this was a natural flow down from what he saw around him. And I mean that the matter of believing in yourself, and I really believe that you mentioned the team, Jerry. I mean, it was a very fortunate period for Meadowbrook, I mean, and yourself, Glista. I mean, to be able to have all of those coincidences of things coming together at that particular time. I mean, the talent, the commitment, the management, the whole, all the support, all of those things coming together. Because, I mean, trust me, Calabar, the school that you don't want name to call.
We'll beat them up 2 times. We can't call them name. We'll beat them up 2 times, Miss Johnson.
Many times. I mean, so all of these, all of these schools are coming for the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of coming back to say, we want to get back there and building back. I mean, I don't know if we have a mic here or a Glacier Prince or so right now, but those kind of things are important to really build a team that is going to be successful consistently.
Yeah, I like how you put it, Mr. Dean. You're so right about that. Every school have talent, and every school have, and you're right. And Jerry, you're right too, because what Mr. Year instilled in me, right, and which permeate through the whole team, and it's one of the music called Miss Johnson. Every meeting it was killer instinct, and all the meaning now, killer instinct means you don't go out there you can't win, and there's a
Yeah.
sense of self belief where him instilled in me that never leave me at all throughout my life. It's like you go on there and you say, boy, you can't compete and you can't be better. It no matter your talent in a sense. You just want a little
Yes.
talent and you want to train hard, but you can't
That's
compete
right.
and beat them on there. But you're right, in a sense, you're right about that, Mr. Dean. It's like, it take a certain personality, for galvanize around, and he was that.
Yes.
That's it. I think that's what I was saying. It's like, and more sports are like that, Sometimes people don't realize that leadership mean a whole heap, Because it's like, at the same talent, them as I say, Mr. Dean. Every basketball
Yes.
team, every football team, but there's certain leadership with one
That's
or two
right.
individual have. And when the Jerry is galvanize the people around him, the supporting staff, you want to support him, You follow me? I said to this man have so much.
Right.
So it's that I didn't want to call it charisma, but it could be that. It's like you now go have no anything we mark if you do, you're gonna do it without a problem. That was the personality I'm saying here. The driving force. Sometimes they don't have to ask you. Him just have a look and him just have a mental and want this to get done. I'm scratching locks and I said, and it wasn't locks, Miss even though name dread Miss Johnson is not locks. It was him red here. All him
Okay.
after Jerry, it's scratching me and I said, boy, I want that. And when I get it done, without him even ask a second time. So I don't. It is. You're right, Mr. Dean. You're right. But to say I was lucky. We were all lucky, Jerry. If all of that come together at the time and
Yes.
provide that leadership with Mr. Year, it's like, and maybe it can be reproduced. We don't know.
Of course. Of
I
course
think
it
it
can be.
can be. I think it can be reproduced. And I think that Miss Johnson is on to something. And I think that maybe the way forward is to find a way to duplicate that and to even improve on it. I think that we should be able to start to address some of those concerns.
But let me ask you something though, about Jerry. When you met Mr. Year, did Mr. Year have vision to say him going to create such a winning culture in Meadowbrook in terms of that? You think he envisioned us winning the amount of trophy we actually won?
I don't know if Mike had a goal in sight in terms of trophies, but I think that what Mike wanted to do was to build a proper sports team, a
Yes.
proper
Just
sports.
competitive.
Yes.
Yeah,
A proper
something that
culture
was.
then, Jerry, a proper culture.
No, yeah, but like the sports department was going to do its job, right? And the sports department was part of that is to win trophies, yes, but a part of that is to develop athletes, not only the technical aspect, but also the mental and the self-belief. I think that Mike decided that look, anybody who passed through these teams is going to undergo that. That is what we want. That's the
Yeah.
kind of person I want to be on any of my teams. Now, if we win trophies, great.
Fine,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
But if we don't, we still have that integrity as a team that is, almost I won't say professional, but near professional.
Yeah, I
And you
appreciate that,
guys,
Jerry. Yeah, appreciate that.
yeah, I think that's what he really set out to do. Just like how Lennox wanted, as a teacher, Lennox's responsibility was to teach people A-level economics and get people to pass that. And that's your job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
to get there, as Lennox said, you find kids who have good in maths and not so good in English. You have to find a way to bridge that gap, and you have to find a way to get them to believe that they can do it. And eventually, you get your good passes. Mike got his good results. I think that is a professional approach, Lance. I think that's
No,
that's what.
I agree with that, Jerry. It's almost like you don't want to start with the trophy in mind. You want to start with the professionalism.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because it's what you build, what you get, and in working with some of these student athletes, what you drive in them is that the fact that you are here competing, it means then you are just as good as the opponent. And so we want to win, but when we win, it's a plus, it's a bonus, but you're going to give them a very good competition. They're not
That's
just
it.
going to come
That's
and
it.
take the points, them have to earn it. So the fact that you're going to match them stride for stride, it simply means that you're just as good as them or even better.
Yeah, yeah.
And so at the end, you come out the winner, that's a plus. But you want to come with a mindset that you are capable and able to compete. And I want to tell you, and Wayne, when you get him to come on to do his part, I like the approach you take with the footballers, because I can tell you that year, as much as we did not advance out of the round, and it's not that we couldn't advance, we could, because the caliber of students that remain, because when they heard that the coach was changing, the coach and some students left because they said, oh, them can't stay at Meadowbrook because we're not winning anything. And so the ones that were there, when Deane came and he spoke with them, and he said, listen, whatever you're doing, you have to be good at it. It's like your craft. And he will dress the part, because he said if he's training, when he's coming to speak with administration, him come professional, because he said it's business. And the students saw him. I remember one student said to him, sir, me no love man, but me can tell you, you look sharp, sir.
And I hope his woman tell him that.
No. It's a male student. It's a male student. Tell him, you no love man. But the way he presents himself, he says, sir, you look sharp. He say, yes, that is what I'm driving with you. When you are going, you need to represent yourself and represent yourself good. So I like what he was teaching the students. And so when he tell him, so listen, we know when we're not the best, but guess what? We have the spirit. We have the players. We can play. And so you're going to go out there and you're going to challenge them. Them come for win, you come for win too, but you're going to make them know, say, hey, you have to earn the points then that you're going to get. And we finished that year, which before COVID started, we finished that year with the most points ever that we have won overall. And it's just such a pity that we didn't advance out of the round. It was a tough zone, but we finished with a good amount of points. Normally we finished with 3 points. We finished with like 12 points. And that was an accomplishment, and they felt good because they win match, they draw, they lose, yes, but they gain points. And that's what he was saying, that in order to advance, you have to gain the points, so you have to play to get the points. Don't just give them the winnings. Let them have to play for it. And I like that approach that you took. And they believe it's just such a pity, with COVID came that put a halt in the program.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that, and I know Jerry or Mr. Deane won't be surprised at what Deane is doing, because Deane was part of that culture in the 1980s.
Right. Deane was a product of that very same thing that we're just talking about. Deane was among those teams and a member of those teams.
Yeah.
And he understood. And I'm very happy that he's carrying it on. I'm really very happy.
I'm sorry, who's been again?
Wayne Campbell.
Lloyd Campbell.
Wayne Campbell.
Wayne.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, there's a mix up with that, Miss Johnson, between, because him come to school, him not lied until him take O level. Him say, they might tell him same name. Yeah. So that's why I call him lie, because
right.
We
I don't know that happened.
No, but to them good enough, Miss Johnson, because he and I started at Meadowbrook in the 1970s. Same year, we went right through a play on Woolipa cricket team together, and being to play football, being in the track and field.
Right.
Bean was a much more talented athlete than me, all round. You follow me? I said,
he was.
All round. He met the Sunlight team before me and all them things there. He was a much more talented athlete than me. I give him all of that. So I'm not surprised. He would have learned all the things that me learned too, in terms of, say, the culture we might inculcate in the school, And that's the groundwork where we can build and launch things upon. I'm glad to hear that. I'm happy to hear that.
Miss Johnson made that point earlier with the self-belief thing. Because look, we all know that, a lot of teams go into competitions. And I will call the names because, I respect these schools, Calabar, KC.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a sense of, they have high standards. And you put the most average Calabar cricket team out there.
Yes.
They are not going to go down without a fight.
Yes.
Same thing with KC. And we have proven that because we have gotten, in the old days, if we played KC and we had the better team, somehow KC would manage to beat us because they believe. When we got that self-belief,
we could have beat them and compete.
We beat them all the time. We were never intimidated by them again.
Yeah, so in a sense, it's that self-belief for one build back.
Absolutely. And I think that's what Miss Johnson is alluding to also. That we need to believe that, well, she said it, that we are just as good as the other, but you got to believe it.
Yeah. And it come sometimes it just take one person to spark the fire, and people galvanize around him, like Mr. Here and Becky. And then it just, and you don't know where that person that come from. But Miss Johnson, I must tell you this now. I like the passion of your voice, and I hear how you talk about the school and the fact
Second that.
And the fact
that's
I
true.
love the passion I hear you talk. I say, yeah. But yeah, so it's a way to work with, and I love the passion. That's all I can say. I can't stop that about how you talk about the school.
Moving forward, I think that Miss Johnson, knows Freddie well, and we all know Freddie well.
Yeah.
And Freddie is the guru of coaches, right?
Yeah. And
Freddie is also a man who has benefited from the experiences that we were just talking about. Also,
him can't go JC and make JC into a powerhouse, so it's not like
exactly. So we all know the ability that Freddie has. So somewhere between
Miss Johnson
Lance,
and Beanie,
Miss Johnson, Deane, and Freddie. Maybe something else to be that we can move forward with some kind of ideas.
And all the connection we make back because we talk. We're talking after 40 years of talk again, Mr. Deane. We can re-galvanize something. That's the key, just to start talking and say, but we can't do this again. We have done it before. We can't do it again. So I am happy for you that, Miss Johnson. It's not a lack of talent. It's just it's a lack of belief.
Yes.
And it's how we get that. It's how we get back that belief. And belief not change overnight. It didn't change overnight at Meadowbrook.
But
it did not change overnight at Meadowbrook at all. And when you tell me about Beanie, I'm very impressed with him though, because he must build a culture, and it can't change overnight. But he must start somewhere and build a culture and know. So, you tell me I talk to you, them I'm very impressed. I must tell you that.
Yeah. He is. Trust me. I was, because you have had other persons who come. A matter of fact, myself and a coach catch up, who come and say, my Meadowbrook man. And then he was quarreling. And I said, look what the school give me for work with. And I look at him and I said, what do you mean? Look what the school give you to work with. You're a coach. And if you're that good of a coach, you bill with what you get. If it was up to him, would I carry all 21 players? I said, you can't do that. What about the students who come to the school with the talent? You're stifling those.
That's exactly what you
you have to work with. So I mean,
exactly what we were
one and the few where you have the gaps. But all 21 of them, I tell him no. So when him kick off, I say, you're not good then. But tell him straight, I say, you're not good, you're a bug coach. Because I impressed me.
That's precisely what we were not doing back in those days.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to bring in a couple of people, but if you say I can bring in a whole squad, that's not the culture of Meadowbrook. That's not. Because anybody who come to Meadowbrook, I follow the culture of the school, The school change them can't change the culture of the school. I'm happy for you. And Miss Johnson, I'm glad you're here because you're represented in such a way that me happy for you. Like, I said, no, you can't do that. Because the culture of the school is important.
Yeah, Mr. No, you can't do that. Because I look out for the athletes. But say we have the talent. It's not like, and they're not might be the sharpest tool in the shed, but they have skills. Build it, work on them, and we can do. Because I'm like, okay, we get a good cricketer, and because we're not honest, a little cricketer there. As I'm coming in grade 7, we'll enter 2 little competition and one school saw him play. Him gone. Then we had a runner. We come, and then before you know it, when next school scrape him up. We had some female runners and school, and I'm like, where were you when we were working and developing these? And as them start get good, but because we're not able to sustain them, we get them and we try a thing. So we take like a 2 step forward and 10 step backward. So always have to redo and go over what we have laid. So we need a proper structure. So we have the talent, the structure needs organizing and need look into. I have to repair the structure.
Go ahead, Mr. Deane. I have a comment on it, but you go ahead.
Yeah, listen, I know we've been talking about sports and in particular cricket for the last couple of minutes, right? But I would want to suggest that we could extend this whole discussion to beyond cricket or sports.
Beyond the boundaries, I like to say.
Right.
Yes.
To Meadowbrook High School. Because the culture we're talking about cannot be a culture which is particular to cricket.
Or sports, no, I agree with you.
This belief in self. I mean, I mean, I don't think that many persons, whether inside or outside, would have thought of Meadowbrook getting 2 Rhodes Scholars within a short space of time. It's an accomplishment which I don't think any other school has had.
Yeah.
And these things are not unrelated, you know.
But it's not known though, Mr. Deane. That's the problem, you know. It's not known.
No, it is not known outside, but it was known inside at the time.
But no, I'm saying not known now at the school. It's not.
But that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that at that time, people knew. So somebody was saying, "Oh, well, you know, Andrea, get it," and it's not like she was all that much better than me in school. I can the fact that somebody can do it who you walk and see around is that it builds up a belief in self. So you mentioned we've been talking about culture and all those things. The cricket is not like a thing unto itself.
No.
It is a reflection
of the whole culture,
the wider of the whole thing, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what I'm really saying here is that I appreciate the suggestion in terms of the past student who have had accomplishment. I mean, it may have been applied cricket, but there's no reason to limit it there. To come and, you know, share and relate, and for people to see. And they might say, oh, okay, that was 40 years ago, a different time now. It's a different time now, but if it was done before, it can be done again.
I went back up your point, Mr. Deane, and tell exactly, because I know exactly what you say. And I didn't recognize it, because I know it's just more than cricket. As I always say, it's beyond the boundary. The feeling when you get to Meadowbrook. And the information we are talking about was the one that come out to me, and I don't know if you listen, the podcast with the twin them, Patrick and Paul Smith. God bless twin them. And they were poached by other school, you know. They were very talented young sons. It's the two most talented young ever come on Meadowbrook, you know, Jerry.
I remember they used to run.
You remember I said to you, Jerry? And when they said to me, you know, me asked them, you know, I said, other school never wants to leave Meadowbrook. And I say, yeah, Jerry. From First Farm, Calabar, KC, the whole of them, Camperdown, I recruit them. Before them come on Meadowbrook, them get recruited to come on Meadowbrook. And them say from them come on the campus the first year, them never want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And all the time I say, leave my school. And I say it's like, because them in a sense, talent-wise, them could have go walk in any school and play any schoolboy football or whatever.
Yes.
But they love Meadowbrook so much based on the culture. That's what you talk about, Mr. Deane. You follow me? I said to you, and if people, I don't know, the point is, you know, it's hard to pinpoint what they love about the school so much, you know. Because when I listen to them, I say, yeah, man, tell them come and me had friends at Meadowbrook. And this is where sum it up for me, you know. Him say, him never want to go to school when he was a cattle.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me? I said to you, Jerry, he didn't want us to go to school for say, boy, he was a runner when I go to school.
Oh, he actually said that?
Yes, Jerry, yes, Mr. Deane, if you listen to podcasts, I tell you, for them podcasts, and the two of them come on and talk about, and I felt so good when I hear you them talk, and I say, you big man, a big man them for me, big man, because them younger than me, Mr. Youth them. When you hear the man them talk about the passion, say, did not want to be in a cattle. I mean, right.
They were excellent kids. Those two.
Yes.
They were excellent kids.
And I want to draw your attention to as you mentioned, because the academic is still it's a passion. Because I would encourage the students, if you can't not do your work and take up sports, the work and sports go hand in hand. You have to strike the balance. And
time management.
Yes. So you have to balance. So those who are falling behind, you put programs in place to help them. And that is one of the things I admire about Alfred Henry when he was at JC. The boys were able to get football scholarship after them finished their Manning Cup season. They were able to secure a 5-6 scholarship, and it's not that a friendship thing. They earned those scholarship based on their academics and the talent that they can play. But I will draw your attention to Minerva Thame, Professor Minerva Thame, past student of Meadowbrook High School. She played netball for Meadowbrook.
I remember that.
She
did sports. She was, I think, there in the 70s.
Yes, she was at school.
She was 2 years. She was 3 years behind me.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
She
yeah.
did sport and she excelled. She became a professor. When we had the homecoming, I remember they got a guest speaker from KC who came and spoke and said, wow, Meadowbrook has achieved so much in terms of academic, because where are you going to go where you have two Rhodes Scholars? Where are you going to go where you have professor and notable lawyers among you guys? I mean, Meadowbrook have a legacy that they can boast about. And so the
My sister
other
is a doctor, actually.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
and the other
Jennifer, yeah, yeah.
students who are there
Mhm.
now need to know and learn about these, and that's where, as I said, that the past students come in more in terms of their presence and work with administration. I mean, if administration pull in a different way, past students can get administration to understand and say, listen, we have been at the school before and we know where we're coming from and what we're speaking about. I have just started there in 2001, and in coming to Meadowbrook in 2001, I've had so many histories hearing of what happened, and so I fell in love with this school and I said, wow, this is a school that has a balance.
Yeah, yeah,
The school
yeah.
that know how to produce excellent, rounded students. And that is why Meadowbrook was tops. And so as much as though Immaculate get the creme de la creme, they get the best of the best. We never get the best of the best. So we work on what we got and we produce excellent, rounded students, both in sports and in academic. Because I'm sure those Rhodes Scholars that we've had, if you check their profile, you see that they were involved in Key Club, they were involved in this club, who did what community service. So they were involved in the extracurricular activities of the school as well as doing their schoolwork so that they can get the Rhodes Scholar. Because it's not only about academics, you have to balance everything. Persons are looking to see how rounded you are as a student. And Meadowbrook has done that. So, I mean, we can get back there. We can continue the legacy. Just need someone to step in, or persons or the organization in which the past students serve, to step in and cement that culture of both the academics and the co-curricular activity. I can speak like this because, as I said, this is my portfolio at the school. I'm in charge of co-curricular activities. So I will go and I will encourage students to participate, because I said, listen, if you're going to going for a scholarship, they're not just going to only look at your academic side, which is excellent. They're going to say, okay, apart from that, what else can you do? And so I'll go and I encourage, because we've gotten a scholarship for persons. Currently, Shakur Williams, he came down to run for the junior trials. He got a scholarship to go to University of Albany, and his grades were excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And he is now PB as a 20-year-old, is 10.21. And I'm so proud of him, because that happened while I was there working with these students. You have Kobe, who got a medal at the ISA championship and who went on to get scholarship to go to a university in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have others like Shellyan and the Brathwaites and other persons who get scholarship and go overseas. And it's not just their running talent, it's their academic as well that helps propel them. So it's a school that produces rounded students. When I say rounded, I am not even going to bat my eyelash. I'm just going to tell it straight as it is. It's a good environment to be in. We just need to get back to some of those glory days, because persons want to associate with
A winning
winning,
culture, yeah, yeah, yeah.
winning culture with achievement.
Yeah, man.
And so
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
is not in the spirit of the school is going to be
Yeah,
done.
man, yeah, yeah.
The ones who are coming in not seeing where anything is happening. That's what they're about.
Yeah,
Nothing
man, yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand exactly what you're saying, Ms. Johnson, because it's like, even look at the college of here, Jerry and Mr. Deane, it's the sports bringing the money, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh
a
yeah.
sports program, the big money coming in, you know, and it's like, it's not like what emphasize sports, you know, because Meadowbrook is such a well-rounded school, as we all say, you know. But trust me, man, the sports, and it's not, Integra said this to me the other day, it's not ironic that a sportsman starts something like this, what we talk about, and that, because we feel passionate about the sports. Sports people step out of them comfort zone more than anybody else. And they're going to say, yeah, we're going to do this. So in a sense, it's almost like it's have to start the same, and then.
But I do agree, though, Lance. I do agree that we need to. We have a lot to talk about in terms of academics and so on, and we should be talking about that too. Without a doubt, because you have some people who come who are attracted by that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm not leave out that, Jerry. Not leave, but it's the other thing with sports now, right? Hitchcock talk about this a whole heap, and this is the problem. Not even problem. This is the challenge, Is that it's like, and Miss Johnson said too, it's both you need, You can't just do one over. You can't just focus on academics and left off the sports, Because this and especially team sports. Remember this, What team sport I do, nothing else can do, It galvanizes a whole school to feel good about themselves in a certain way and make everybody want to participate and say, I'm going to do this for my school. And ultimately, they do it for themselves, Them say them because them feel so good about them environments where them in. That's what the winning culture does, man. It's a team thing. But we can work on it. But this is a good conversation for everybody to hear about. And the question now me have is how we get the conversation to the present day student. And more importantly, it's not him, that's so much. I don't know. And maybe when I hear Miss Johnson's voice or being here talk, maybe they are the person who can rally around our Hitchcock for the certain things. But we will see, because we just don't know. We don't know. It's going to take one person to step up and say, we're going to do this again, because light the fire and the Meadowbrook again for the certain things. And what we can do, because I do already. The talent is there, that's not the problem. The talent is there, it's not the problem at all. So we have to work on that.
The talent is there, the academic is there.
Yeah, right. But that's a talent we talk all around. Academic, we can produce word scholar again, all of that.
Just need to light the fire for them to leave.
Yeah, and all that talk, even the talent in a culture, like for musician or writers or playwright, what all them thing there. The talent there for all of them something there. So you don't, but we have to light the passion to say. And sports does that quicker than anybody else. That's the point of sports. Sports, the team sport. Go ahead, Mr. Deane.
If I said, I mean, I agree with all of this, right? I mean, and it is great both for the individual and for the school to get back, as you said, to those glory days. And it would be great if we could. One of the things that I always marvel about is how students, so not every student is going to develop at the same rate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some students that I had in school that I never saw them as anything special.
Yeah.
I mean, they were okay students, and I mean, they were nice students. And I'm seeing them now as, one of the biggest playwrights in the world went to Meadowbrook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Colin, I mean, as a teacher, who would have thought that Colin Channel? I would never have thought that. No disrespect to Colin. He was he was one of the troublemakers if there was ever a troublemaker.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not obnoxious, but I mean,
no, he was always nice. He was always clever.
Yeah. If pushing the edge, him not go over it.
So,
So
what I'm saying is that I it would be great to go back to that, and I think all efforts should be made to revive those times, but just to appreciate that there are some people that are just late developers or might have a talent that we don't see.
Yeah.
Right.
And therefore the important thing is just to try to do the best that you can to try and develop the person.
Yeah. I agree that, Mr. Deane. That's if we want to go back to the time. What I want is to light a fire.
Right.
Feedback respond, I said, that's the B, man. The B, Meadowbrook. Let the light shine, man. It's almost like the light. It's like the light needs lighting again. It's not about him for go back for the whole time. And it's like I say, we can't do better than what we have to know.
Okay, fine.
Right.
That's how I look at him. I agree with him. Even if we don't win nothing.
Yeah.
But we can produce an environment where man want to come because I know say if I go to school, him know say I get a scholarship, if I get 2 subjects, I play 2 sports, I play this. And him get and him have the passion for same kind of certain things. And him go, all right, but we have to create the environment where when a man come and Meadowbrook, him know. Him go buck up on somebody like Deane, you go nurture him a certain way. The nurturing thing you talk about, Mr. Johnson. You follow me, I said to you, but it start and it, in a sense it have to start from first farm,
Yes, definitely.
Because that's what Mr. Year did more than Mr. Year and Becky did more than anything else, G. What
Yes.
impressed me, It's not like them come out of school and Mr. Year never start. Mr. Dance, you weren't there. Mr. Year didn't start at the top of the Manning Cup team.
6-4, yeah.
He never coach a Manning Cup team until the last year. He was supposed to coach a walk up, or the second 2 years, him last year there. Him start at the bottom, the farm competition, and that's what we have to start. But build the culture from in the school and start and make the youth them believe. And make the youth them believe. So, yeah. But anyway, as simple as when I take it, I almost there for talk for 2 hours, with him now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and it comes just like nothing.
Been a while.
I switch off of this because I think we have exhausted that, and I think we answered the question, answer the question. But we're going at some lighter topic because that was some everything, because we're passionate about the school, and we want the school firelight again. So we put it out there, or we get it out there, or we get it to the student them. And we'll say, somebody will hear this and say, okay, yeah, let me step up under that. So,
yeah.
So Mr. Deane, you go first with that question. Yeah. Any fun memories at Meadowbrook, remember? School
goodness. Yeah, man. Many fun memories.
All right, give me some of them, no?
Well, that same 2B class there, I remember a trip to Ocherius, on the beach. It was a fun time, but it was also a sad time because it was 2 classes that went, 2B and 2A. Mrs. Morris, who has passed.
Yeah, and, Dr. Morris, recently.
Before yes. A young man from her class, he went out swimming, excellent swimmer, but apparently the current drew him under, and so we didn't, and he passed on that trip, I know. She was devastated.
I remember
you remember that, Jerry?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think it was Clark.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Like
Clark.
That was terrible.
I remember that very well, Mr. Deane. Yes.
Very, 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 very sad. But it's a good time because, the bonding with students. I actually still have some pictures from that time. People like Donut, Jamie, I remember her surname, right? Golden.
Jamie Golden.
Yeah, Jamie Golden. Those times. And Karen, excellent student again. I don't remember her surname. But that was a good time. Sports Day was also some great time at Meadowbrook. God Shore House. I know they didn't always come first. In fact, don't say anything, Jerry.
But no, the only thing I'm saying, I'm actually commiserating with you, Lennox, because I was in Ward House, and Miss McLennan put all the good athletes in Sanders. So Sanders won every year. We had no chance. We had no chance from the outset, Lennox. So,
she tipped the scale away, the jury. You're right. So
and 2 other things in terms of really, 2 other things that are good memories. One is the staff room, I mentioned that already, and the excellent rapport that we had inside the classroom. Really, really love those days. And in fact, just to mention, we had an upstairs and a downstairs thing at that overhang. Yeah, downstairs was the problem. Yeah. The more sophisticated persons were up top. Right? People like Pauline, Salmon, and so were up there. And very often they would look down at us down the bottom and say, "What you guys going on down there?" But we had some great times down there. Then there was a badminton club, Jerry.
Yes, that was fun.
Right, that was really great. With the two Celia Jones and the other Celia, our friend, and Pauline Richards, and sometimes Mike came, and of course Jerry. Some great times playing badminton up until all hours in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have school next month.
So when you play badminton up by Ligani Club?
In the hall.
Inside the Ratney Hall, the assembly
inside the
hall.
School hall there.
Okay.
And I got reasonably okay at badminton.
No, you're good.
To the point that if we slacked off for a little while and I went back, I could actually feel the muscles in the back crying out. Very good exercise, and we really had some good times there.
Badminton,
and of course, another great time I had at Meadowbrook was the choir.
Mm-hmm.
We had a choir.
Musician.
Oh, really? I never knew that. Tell me about that.
You never know that. Yeah, no. Musician.
Yeah, big time musician.
I didn't know that, Jerry. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, a good choir, very good choir. Very good choir.
I didn't know that. So you have a history of going to church. How come you end up in the choir?
Well, I led the choir at Meadowbrook because I like choir, and I taught the choir there. We sang at a couple of things. I remember we sang at this occasion where the then minister of, I'm not sure minister of what, he's the minister of tourism now. He asked, that was a very good presentation, but why never sing about something? I mean, he sang something like, there's a light song. He said, we never sing something about commitment or something. So I said, well, we sing what we choose to sing.
Exactly.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. Right, yeah. That's a
Exactly
good
right.
answer.
Exactly right. But
Good
hold
answer.
on. You finish up, Mr. Deane, sorry.
Yeah, so those are some of the time that I really, really had, remember very fondly of Meadowbrook. And of course, the classroom interaction, especially with the sixth form. I mean, I enjoy the lower forms, but to be quite honest, my best experiences were the sixth form, possibly because they were on the threshold of going into the world and
Yeah.
facing things. And
It's a different level. Yeah.
it's a different level.
Yeah.
So you behave with them somewhat differently
Yeah.
from
Oh,
the
yeah.
lower school. And in fact, as I said it, I remember there was a class that I had. There's a class that I had, an A-level class, one afternoon. And when I went there was nobody in the class. And that does not happen because people come to my class. And I waited there for half an hour. I didn't see anybody, so I went to the staff room. About sometime afterwards, I see an envelope I can tell you the names. I don't think they'll mind me calling the names. There was Sophia, double barrel name. Can't remember her
McGregor?
name. No. Sophia, my good friend, Renford.
She have a
Michelle.
hyphenated name. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Sophia, I probably will soon remember it. Renford, Michelle, and oh goodness. And it was towards the end of when I was at Meadowbrook. And and they must have realized that I would have been very upset. And they wrote a letter, which I still have, apologizing. They said they went down to the Bank of Jamaica and was held up and they couldn't get back to class. And of course, sometimes they never have a cell phone to call.
Yeah, you have to explain that to people,
Right.
yes.
Right.
Not everybody had phone at them house either, exactly, yeah.
Right. And I had this letter there, apologize, Mr. Deane, we're sorry to be late. And I really appreciated the fact that they took the time to write that letter. Of course, I did that because I knew that, I don't want to play when it comes to my class.
So it was like they were deliberately being out of order. Is that the
I didn't think they did, but I was wondering what was going on.
Yeah. It was a surprise because they want to come to class. They not want to done now when they come to your class. Yes.
Yeah, man, they always come to my class.
But before I go to you, Miss Johnson, let me ask Mr. Deane this question. Because I mentioned the book, you don't remember two of those famous lines from the book where you can leave us.
Why, Jerry, it would take something for me to remember
Jerry, do you remember any line from the book?
Let me think.
It would be really hard to go back there, so.
All right, go on, think. Ms. Johnson, answer the question. Ms. Johnson, any fun memories you have while in your time at Meadowbrook, even though it's still there, what you want to talk about?
Yes, my my fun memory is with my cadets. I glorify and relish in the fact that I work with some of the students who some of them are troubled and they come into cadet and we form that bond and they become so comfortable that their parents trust me so much. I could just call them like the night before and say, hey, I need such and such a cadet because we're going on this trip, we're going on this hike. We are called by headquarters to do this, and the parents would just send them. That was really good. The level of trust that the parents would give to me for my cadets. So I really enjoy working with my cadet. And it was very sad for me when I lost one of my cadets. It was natural causes. He died of a heart attack at home.
You mean while at school?
He was still a student at Meadowbrook.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah?
Yeah, he was serving cadet. And so he passed on at home. That was really sad. let me tell you, I just swear think of my pitney, a ball. I mean, the mother, and she just entrusted him with everything because he got a military funeral as a serving cadet.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It was very touching. Let me tell you
Tragic.
some.
What was his name? What was his name? What was his name, Miss Johnson?
Kemar Fru. He was a corporal.
Kamar who?
Kemar Fru.
Spell the last name.
Fru. Frew.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Wow,
I
I never heard that name
Yeah,
before.
yeah. I
Never
know,
heard
yeah.
Yeah, he was a corporal.
Now I want to
In
make
the
sure I honor that
military.
because as a great Meadowbrook student, yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
He served the cadet corps very well. He was very neat and meticulous because he was a person in the stores and he could account for things in the stores. If something missing out of the stores, he would come and say, he would come and say, Mom, I don't want you to quarrel, but such and so took out this and I didn't tell them. So of course, if you ask, you know where it is. So it was really good. So I mean, working with my cadet was so fun, and I was a grade 7 form teacher. I love working with the grade 7 because they were easy to talk with. I mean, I understand the upper school because I taught at a grade 12 level, but just to relate to my grade 7, they were so fresh coming out of primary school and prep school, and they were just bubbly and bouncy and full of energy. And so it just gave me that energy to keep up with them. I always like working with the grade 7s. So that was like my fun memory. And of course, the staff trip was really good. Go on some good staff trips. So those were some fine memories as well. There's so many, Glester. Honestly, I come to school and it just become a part of me. It's like my second home, my next family.
Yeah.
The environment, yes.
A lot of students are saying that after 40 years, same way. Them feel like it's like at them home when them come. Yeah.
Man, it was a good experience.
Yeah,
Mrs. Lowe, Alice Lowe, that lady, as the principal that I came and saw, she set the foundation for my attachment to the school.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a good principal. I mean, she's still alive, but no retired.
Okay.
Good principal.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, very good.
Yes, I just remember the name of some of the other people I was trying to remember.
Right,
Renford Sutherland.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know him. I'm not sure if he came into Meadowbrook from first form. I think he might have come somewhere in sixth form.
Yeah.
And Cheryl Vernon.
Yeah, she remember good. Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there were some of the students that were missing from the class.
Okay.
But as you mentioned them, I just have to mention one of my students who is now my banker.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
You're supposed to get good interest then.
Who's that student, Deane, if you want to call them name?
Actually, she came in sixth form. Her name is Annette. She have a double barren name, which I what's Annette's name?
Mr. Dre, you saw the man have a nice relationship with the bank and them know her last name.
Yes, Annette Philpotts.
Annette
Actually, she's Philpotts now. I don't think she was Philpotts at the time.
Oh, I got you. I see me, Mr. Deane.
Right. But very, very, I mean, she came in sixth form. She's a very good student. And imagine me going there and say, but you're my teacher. It's really a nice feeling when, you get that kind of thing. And so she's not my banker.
Yeah, that is...
Well, that's one thing I can tell you. Anytime I interact with a past student and your name comes up, all the students like Lennox. I mean, like a fair man and, good teacher and decent person. Always get that response. So not surprising, Lennox.
Yeah.
Man, I love this teaching. I love my students, and every student that I'm in touch with, we maintain a connection, including Glacier Prince.
No, I remember that, Mr. Deane. Don't worry, I do remember that. Mr. Deane was instrumental for make sure me got sixth form. So I can never forget that. Mr. Deane. And if we don't go in sixth form, I would not played Sunlight.
Okay, that's right, because you wouldn't have been in school.
Right. And you were instrumental when Jerry and Becky campaigned for me. I said, boy, yeah, man, give him a chance. And you say, yeah, make him go on. So I'll never forget that, Mr. Deane. Don't worry. I have not forgotten that, though.
Well, it turned out to be a good call, right?
Yeah, yes. It did turn out to be a wonderful call, Jerry.
A good call.
he
Yeah,
should
complain.
he should vindicate everybody for that call, including me.
Absolutely.
Including
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right,
So
so let,
Lennox, I have a question. One question for Lennox, and
Mm.
I can ask Miss Johnson the same question because she's still teaching. But I mean, I left teaching and I went to do other things. And speaking for myself, probably was the most rewarding job that I ever had personally teaching. Many of the reasons that Lennox just mentioned. You love your students, you want to see them do well, you feel like you're a part of their development, all of that. The
Mm-hmm.
most, in terms of that, the most gratifying experience. What is your more? I know you're. In fact, I just realized, Lennox, I just found out that you're now a serious entrepreneur in your new endeavors, and
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
sounds very exciting. But overall, what is your, what job give you the most satisfaction? Not financial, but overall. I mean, how do I put it?
Well,
Overall,
let's put it this way. I didn't go into teaching for financial consideration.
Okay.
we get.
I don't think anybody did.
No,
But
Yeah.
I think on a continuing basis, it will have to be teaching. And if it's teaching, I mean, I could mention Meadowbrook specifically, although I have actually taught for the entire period of my work life.
Right, because you're doing at UTech, right?
Right. I mean, I was at IMP at one point. In
Okay,
fact, I
okay.
taught a number of persons
Institute
there
of
who are in public
Management, right?
life.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was at UCC part time. I was at university part time. So I've been kind of busy there, but in terms of full time, that is where you have the connection, because I mean, teaching part time, you only have students for the 2 hours. You don't meet them outside of class.
Mm-hmm.
Meadowbrook definitely has been my most fulfilling time. I mean, I've left Meadowbrook and I went into the financial sector, loans manager. That was okay. In fact, I still have a connection there, and what is now Educom Credit Union.
Mm-hmm.
I left there and I went to a statutory body as deputy director, and that was a good stint. I actually left there. I went back into the classroom full time at UTech.
Mm-hmm.
At UTech, and there is okay. I mean, but Meadowbrook remains my standout place of work without apology.
Likewise.
And Ms. Johnson, even though you're still teaching, did you have an experience apart from teaching? Let me just kind of ask a question in a different way in terms of what are your views on teaching in terms of, you think you could have done something else? I'm put the question this way, that way there.
Good question.
Yeah, I would have. A matter of fact, it was my aunt who steered me towards teaching because my passion was elsewhere. I have worked like short term in other industry, and none, but trust me, none as rewarding as teaching, and so that's why I stick to it. And you're right, I did not go into teaching for the money at all. I went in because of my love for the children. I like working with children, and so that's why I even end up going into cadet, which is a voluntary program, and working with it because you're not compensated any at all for that. And so it was just the love for working with students and just to see them excel. I recall one of my fond memory of a particular student who, I mean, I would like, I'm teaching him accounts and everything practically was like he could not get it. And when I go over it, I'm still not understand. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm going to come to you. Just let me deal with others. If you have the time, I'll take you after the class. And that particular child would stay after class because he wants to learn, and that was the beauty about it. And we would go through the accounting principle, and I didn't know. I mean, I tried with him, but honestly, I was so happy when he passed. He didn't get a distinction, him just passed, and that was my best ever accomplishment because I would have moved him from a grade 5 and he went now to a grade 3 level. And that was so good. I mean, I've gotten grade 1, but I was so happy for him. I was like, oh my God, you did it, And so I love, and that was the joy each time when you see of them success. And I remember it was my birthday. I've just recently celebrated my birthday, the 28th of June. And I went out, and there was this restaurant named Seven, a very popular place. And I remember being there, and as former student of mine came, I said, "Wait, miss, you don't remember me?" I said, "No." You look. I said, "Yeah, man. You don't remember?" And him call him name, and him said, "Look at me good. You were my principles of business teacher." And I remember everything that you taught, and I'm able to do what I'm doing because he's one of the owners of the establishment. And I'm like, this is good, because he and another student was there, and the guy was saying, "Yes, ma'am, I see her, you know, but she don't remember me, but she does look the same." And I mean, I was so happy because I was able to teach them some principles in terms of farming your business, what you need to do, the plus, the don't, and that was so rewarding. Yeah, I get I get free dessert.
Yeah.
Perks of
My
teaching.
dessert.
You know?
Trust me, teaching is it. If you're looking for monetary gain, you're not going to get it, but other gratification, you will get it, because that, success lies in you transferring what you know to your students and to see them be successful. That is your achievement. To me, that is my legacy right there. And so I'm proud to have taught those students, at Meadowbrook High School. So
Yeah, man. I'm happy to hear that. Happy to hear that.
Hearing what you said, Miss Johnson, I can definitely say that Mary, because he's in very good hands still.
Definitely,
Yes,
G.
definitely.
Thanks for
No
your hard
question.
work
Definitely.
Yes.
and your
And the passion.
dedication.
Yeah,
Really
man.
yeah,
And
inspirational.
for somebody who never got Meadowbrook, it's like even
Yeah.
more that to come on and love Meadowbrook so much like we. It's like
Yeah.
I do. From I start talking to her here this evening, Jerry. So I know
Yes.
exactly what I say. I second that. I second that. So my man,
Yes, you asked about the fun times. Sorry to have to
yeah,
cut you,
man, go
but
ahead, man. You go ahead. You go
as
ahead.
you're talking, there's just one other thing that occurred to me, which involved Jerry, and that was World Cup time.
Yeah,
Right?
my
World Cup
house
time
was
was
the
a
venue.
special time over by Jerry, right? No, I mean, it's not that we ignore the students or we did not discharge our responsibilities as teachers. Let me just put that out there. But we did have free time, and that free time
Right.
was spent over by Jerry watching the World Cup. That was a great time.
Yeah, we had some really good time.
And what happened as Jerry's house stays at Jerry's house. So not
Yeah, good football. I don't know how we did it though, because like some of us had to be teaching. but it was an open door policy. Whoever could come, whoever had the time off. Because sometimes you had a break, so you were able, you had the time.
And for the record, Miss Johnson, you're not aware where Jerry live. Jerry used to live just across at Springborn Avenue, Jerry. You know
Yes.
Who live in that house now, Miss Johnson? The house of the principal lad. Who live in that house now?
the Springborn, the house by Springborn.
Yeah.
No, man, they turned it into a guest house, so the
Okay.
church use it to host persons, I guess, who come from overseas or travel out of Kingston. So it's really a guest house. I know when it comes to track and field, when it's champs time, Monroe College use it for their camp.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
It's really
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
still owned by the church. The church still owned.
Yeah.
Always used to own it. Always.
But for
owned
context, Miss Johnson, I hear Jerry attack and Mr. Deane attack about the house. Jerry lived just across from that house. So it was walking distance to the teacher them.
And there was no
Right.
wall at
No,
There was no wall.
no, as I tell you, Meadowbrook wasn't, we never require a visa or no border wall or nobody asks, no papers. You come and go as you feel like. So
I remember when that wall was being built, it was a kind of contentious thing, because even the community members didn't like the idea of this big wall.
I bet, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even the community, people in the community felt that Meadowbrook was like family. Why,
Yeah.
why are you
Yeah,
building
it had a valid in place with good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
massive wall?
yeah. It's like a prison wall.
was-
It's
it
like
was-
it's set up like
yeah,
a prison wall,
yeah.
Jerry. I
Yeah,
could
and it
understand.
had so much character. It had so much character where it was the way it was before. I
Mhm.
mean, it's like, I'm amazed that people thought of doing that.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
I guess the times were changing and there was
Yeah,
The times were
security
changing, and to
issue
her
and
credit, Miss
people.
McLennan, I mean, I think people saw it as Miss McLennan's ward.
but
I mean,
Yep,
she
yep,
saw the
but
need
but
for
yep.
it.
but in a sense, it was a vision that was needed because
That's right.
if the wall ever built a school, probably wouldn't exist, you know,
Yes.
because the wall was
Yeah,
a protection.
there were problems. Yeah, there were problems
Yeah,
happening.
man,
And in the
definitely
old
there.
days, when I lived there, I mean, when I was going to Meadowbrook, there was no such thing. Nobody would come into the school. You didn't
Yes.
need it just never happened.
Yeah.
But I guess things change.
Times change.
Things change. Yeah, and times change.
It's almost like nobody ever knows that the school around there, Jerry. Unless you go to the school, you don't know that the school was there. That's the protection of the school. It's in between two communities, and nobody knows
Right.
there's even a school. Nobody
Yeah,
at all. So,
yeah.
yeah. But let me ask you another question, Mr. Deane. What the most embarrassing moment you remember at Meadowbrook, where you can look back on with a smile?
Oh, wow. I have to think about that one there.
Yeah.
I have to think about that one. That was Johnson in the meantime. Let me try to.
Yeah, leave that ball alone for the time being. Come, Miss Johnson, you still at Meadowbrook. Is there an embarrassing moment you can talk about with a smile? If you can't talk about with a smile, we'll pass it. Don't worry. You don't have to answer.
No, man, I definitely can talk about it with a smile. I remember once I was walking. I remember going to my car. I took something out and I come back, and then the cones were there. And believe me, I was walking nicely to, and I just walked and I fell right in the cone so much that where I fall, I got up so quick. I was looking around to see if any students saw me, because them students would give anything to laugh at you, give anything to laugh at you. And so I fell in a jump up, but man, I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
And then I saw one of my cadets come and say, "Mom, I saw, but we couldn't laugh yet. So we're going to carry it to the nurse, and we know that you're okay." Then they started to laugh. And there were several students who were laughing at me. I was like, damn,
What?
I want to see that.
One question about that, Miss Johnson. Did they take any video of you?
At the time, the videoing was not so prominent.
Okay, I
That
got
was
it. It's
yeah.
earlier then. It's in the early days. It's not like no.
In the earlier days, because now,
It's
but
a-
try my best to drop. Try my best to drop.
You're
And if
right
me
there
drop
on
my
TikTok.
catch up.
It's all up on TikTok and all them things a long time. Son.
Oh, yes, man.
Immediately.
These kids are around.
Seconds after it happened.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's
These kids not around. So now I have to
Nope.
be on my P's and Q's.
yeah.
Because they're no, I'm serious thing, they're videoing you without you even
Right,
knowing
I'm look
that
feed.
you're being
Yes, I'm
videoed.
looking feed, Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson, I know.
Wow.
Yes, man.
I know.
That's scary.
I know.
All
So-
right. One thing that actually, I don't know if it's so much embarrassing and awkward. It is the same. I think this is my first year at Meadowbrook too. But this is not my class. I think this is us 2A. I was teaching history, and I don't remember exactly what it is, the matter that came up, but I think it had to do with homework not being handed in.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying to the class, I treat this matter seriously, and I expect that when I give you assignments, you need to hand them in. And if you were to, I don't know exactly what I said, but I said something like, if it's not done properly, I'd come down so hard on you, you'll regret it. I remember this little girl at the front. She said something like, "Oh, really?" But she was commenting to the phrase, "I'll come down so hard on you."
Oh,
I just continued as if I did not hear
Yeah,
or understand
absolutely.
what she was talking.
Absolutely. That's a good one.
Definitely have to pretend you didn't hear that one.
That
Yes.
one is a good one, Mr. Deane. Trust me, that one.
That's a good one there.
Because sometimes you say things and you realize what you're saying.
Yeah.
And say, oh, it's
She said, "Oh, really?"
yes. You look, you said that today, it'll be me too. Don't worry.
Mhm.
But what's up there? That was awkward.
Yes. All right, so we can move on with a couple more questions because we're winding down with just some fun questions at the end, yeah. Mr. Deane, the best learning experience you get from Meadowbrook.
Ah, learning experience is that well, and I think I basically said it already that um, students, people uh, progress at different rates. That the important thing is just to provide the environment and to instill in them the discipline. And because you can't really watch where persons are at a particular point. Because I've seen students who were very good students, and when you check it out now, they're not really up to much. And then there were students who were just okay that I know excellently. So it's really just that, and I think it's not just to apply to the classroom. It applies to life generally. That people develop at different rates. Different persons develop at different rates. So you just have to provide the environment for them to be able to facilitate that development.
Mm-hmm.
That is possibly my. But apart from that, in terms of learning, why I say that Meadowbrook has been my best experience is that it has probably taught me more about myself, and just to maintain my my integrity and to just accept people for who they are, because persons are different.
Yeah.
And you just have to accept that.
Yeah. Well said, Mr. Deane. Well said to that. I concur with that. Like everybody develop. Well, it's in the motto, let your light so shine. You never say, make Meadowbrook light shine. Let your light shine. You pick how you're going to develop, and we are developing at your own pace. And that's Meadowbrook does that. Meadowbrook facilitates that more than most other places, I think. So that is well said. So Mr. Johnson, the same question to you. Best learning experience you get from Meadowbrook, even though you're still teaching Jerry. You have gotten so far.
Yeah, the best learning experience, honestly, is patience. I have learned to be so patient. It's not funny. Because sometimes you want to move on, but as he said, kids learn at different rate, and so you have to take the time to ensure that the foundation is set, that they get the basic of what it is you're bringing across. So for patient for me is fundamental, and that's what I've been learning, and also how to make your truth shine through. So you're doing something, so you're doing it because you love what it is you're doing. All right, as a song, so you do it for the love, you know, do it for the likes. And so I've learned to do for Meadowbrook. What I've done for Meadowbrook is because I love Meadowbrook, and so I've gotten that opportunity to grow there, to do what I love, and also to learn patience in dealing with both staff and students.
All right, Mr. Deane, we just have a couple more questions left because, I appreciate the time. I almost there for 2.5 hours, so it doesn't look like a 20 minutes, but this has been a good conversation. Trust me. I'm getting a context from our era to the current era. So, Mr. Deane, life lessons you learned at Meadowbrook you passed on to your friends and family.
Well, it's the same thing I mentioned. Appreciation for people and who they are, and that different, not to put on anybody for their position. I mean, I've had students that have come into Meadowbrook that don't have the economic and maybe family support that others have, and they have done so well. So so it's really an appreciation that it is really up to the individual. It even goes back to our previous conversation with respect to to developing a culture
Mm-hmm.
and an appreciation of the promise that you can fulfill
Mm-hmm.
in life. Just to accept that you can make a difference and that you don't have to accept that because this is where I am, this is where I have to be.
Mm-hmm.
You can move on from there. And I've tried to really use that, in my daily. And as Ms. Johnson said, one of the things too is that I said it. Teaching at Meadowbrook in particular has taught me a lot about myself.
Mm-hmm.
That I can help, and my natural inclination is actually to be impatient. To say, how you not getting this? It is so obvious. But it's an acceptance that because I am there, it doesn't mean that the other person is there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you need to have an educational environment to find out. And one of the main things that it might seem a simple thing when I did my diploma in education, because when I went to Meadowbrook, I wasn't a qualified teacher. I was a graduate of economics from the university.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided that I wanted to equip myself, so I went to do a diploma in education.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that it might seem a simple thing that I learned there is the concept of readiness.
Mm-hmm.
For people to be able to understand something, they have to be ready.
Yeah.
Ready, not only from an academic point of view, but from an emotional point of view as well.
Yeah.
And it even comes back to what we've been talking about earlier, with respect to where Meadowbrook is now and where we probably wanted to go. That to move on from point A to point B, you have to have the equipment of things in point A to be able to sufficiently adequately move you to point B.
Yeah.
Because very often you might move to point B and you don't really belong to point B because you're past point A yet.
You're not ready.
So you really ought to appreciate and absorb and appreciate the things from point A in order to move to point B.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing, but to me it's a fundamental thing.
It is a profound thing, Mr. Deane. It is very profound where you just say. It's like things not go happen till certain situations are ready. Sometimes I don't even know.
That's correct. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, man. When you're talking, I understand exactly what I say. It resonates with me and I say, yeah, you're right. Because as a father, sometimes you look on and you say, but how them not see it?
Yes.
It's messed with you. You are sitting there and say, you go through, you say, oh, them not see, but them not quite ready yet.
Yes, that's correct.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. As a father, I know exactly what you're talking about, Mr. Deane. I know exactly what you're talking about. So, Miss Johnson, life lesson learned, I'm going to pass on to your friends and family.
Well, I can really concur with Mr. Deane, but in addition to that, my life lesson is to appreciate person for their different personality. We're so unique in every aspect and really different, and so I have grown to gather an appreciation for how persons view things, how they see things. And so even if I don't agree with you, I appreciate your level of understanding and where you're coming from. And so that understanding that we've had, we can learn to grow together. And so I appreciate the different aspects, the different facets of people's life and get an understanding from it. So I will pass on to person to try to understand and respect the different personality and views of persons. So I have learned that at Meadowbrook.
Yeah, good. All right, Mr. Deane. Message to existing students, our future students, our staff member of Meadowbrook, who are going to listen to this podcast maybe today, next year, 10 years. What you tell them, say? What message you have to them?
Oh, that's heavy. The message is just to, first of all, to thank God for what He has given to you, whatever you have, and that whatever you have is not really you that has given to yourself. Whatever talents or abilities or perspectives, it is really what God has given to you, and He's not giving it to you to be just thrown away, or to be, to be ignored. It is to be built on, and you build on it, yes, for yourself, but it's for the benefit of other people, because not until they benefit other persons are you ultimately going to be benefited. What is the point of you alone being benefited? I mean, that is going to pass.
Yeah.
You really have to benefit other people. That is how you actually get the fulfillment of what thing. So, I mean, to students, I mean, you have your life in front of you. You have your promise there. We always enjoin us not to waste our time. And sometimes time of a waste still at the time, because that is part of growing up. But ultimately, you have to get back to the point as to the fact that you have been given something, whether it is your talents, your abilities, you are to use it, and you have to use it wisely. And the same thing applies to, the teachers, past students, whatever, or might be listening to the podcast.
Jerry, you sound like you had something to say.
No, I was agreeing with
Lennox. Okay.
Those were very inspirational.
Yeah. If I hear
well
what
said.
Mr. Deane says, like, build a team around you in terms of say,
Yes.
build the corporate, and a team could just include one other person.
Yes.
That's fine, because you're right, Mr. Deane. Is the success so much sweeter when you have a team around you, or
Yes.
somebody else beside you, man. When you want to do it, you look around and you ask yourself, but are you want it? That no feel good at all. When you build a team and you have people behind you, around you, it is a more rewarding experience. It's like you can't measure that. So I understand exactly what you're saying, Mr. Deane. Understand? So same question for you, Miss Johnson. Message to existing students, and you are seeing some of them these days. Our future student, our staff member, we're going to hear this podcast, and you can't take this and, because when I say nothing, but when them can't hear upon this podcast, I said, listen to this. What you going to tell them?
Yeah,
Say?
that is true. For me, my message would be to not just current members of staff and current students, but also for former students, that you have attended a noble institution and you have been served well. No, it is your time to give back and to serve those who are coming, and to show them the way, or to show them the Meadowbrookan way. And for the current students who are there and staff members, it is, we are doing what we're doing best. And so I'll say to them that you are as good as any and you are better than many. So you're here not by choice, but because you have a purpose of being here. And so you must live up to that purpose, in so letting your light shine. So as a Meadowbrook future, it is up to you to carry on the mantle. So you can't slack off in what you're doing. You have to hold fast. You have to surround yourself with positive vibration, even when it seems negative. You have to use those negativity as stepping stone, as hurdles that you jump over and move on to the next. So you turn the negatives into positive for both staff and current student, because whatever might be happening now, then there might be negative things, but we just have to use those negative and turn them positive and to build a solid foundation so that we are able to leave a legacy behind.
Yeah, I like where you put that. Well, this is it's not even a question. The second to last comment before we come to the last question. And Jeremy, start with you. Is there any question or topic where I could have bring up what I didn't bring up at all?
No, I think you covered the salient issues. I don't think so. Not off the top of my head.
Yeah. And Mr. Deane, same question to you. Is there any topic where you want? Where you say that? Where you gone now? Later on, you say, "Boy, Gleason never marks me that, you know."
As Jerry made that last comment there, it really reminded me that Jerry, you have a little sarcasm kind of thing we're going on for a long time, you know. It just comes to my mind. Jerry.
No, but you know what happened with these things, Lennox and Lance. 2 o'clock in the morning, I will remember.
That's the same complaint I get from everybody, Jerry. You're right.
Right? So why we should have talked about this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got memories like that between it. Afterward, I said, I never.
Right.
Mhm.
No, I
Yeah,
thought it
yeah.
was a good conversation. I thought that, I really appreciated hearing the perspectives of former and current.
Yeah. It was a wonderful contrast. Not even contrast. It's a wonderful synergy for listen.
Yes.
The three not talk about, well, you more, Mr. Deane, because it was your interview, really, your conversation, really, from Miss Johnson. It was excellent for me for draw for synergy from the two on for year. And it's a whole heap of similarities. So it was wonderful. So, Miss Johnson, the same question to you. Sorry, Mr. Deane, you have something else to say.
No. I was going to answer the question, but you can go to
No,
Miss Johnson.
no, man, go ahead, man. You go ahead. Anything you think I need for mention. No, man, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, actually, I was going to agree with Jerry that I cannot think of anything right now. I think we have covered everything that I tried to think about. What I was going to go on to say is to remind you of our conversation about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I asked you about the time period for this.
Oh, the length.
For this, right? And commenting that it really seemed long. And I mean, I was considering that, as a teacher for much of my work life, one of the things that you have to do is to work with the time that you have, whether it's half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, or in some cases 2 hours. And I was actually thinking that, it would be good to condense it. And then I realized that it's almost 3 hours we've been talking. And it doesn't really seem like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that to me, that sometimes you really get into the conversation and you don't. But so I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that we have covered how many decades now between Mrs. Johnson, she's 21, and myself and Jerry,
almost 5 decades,
which is right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. There's a lot to be covered in
3
less
hours,
than 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it is an accomplishment, and I want to say on the podcast, which I mentioned to you personally, Glacier, to compliment you on this initiative. I think it's an amazing and wonderful initiative, and I'm so proud of you, and I can claim you as my past student. Say,
Yeah.
say it's my past
Likewise.
student,
Likewise.
and to say, even being a part of this, I'm having some kind of vision of you on the international stage here, doing some kind of a thing on some network with a thing, and it might seem to be a joke, but I really think you have done an excellent job with this, and I want to compliment you.
Yes, I totally agree.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deane. I appreciate that. I humbly appreciate that. When I started this, I had no idea the impact I'd have had. Because as I said at the beginning, I said, I know me can talk to the cricketer and I'm going to chat about cricket. And we come on this and I talk for 3 hours. And with them talk about sports that much at all. So I humbly appreciate that, Mr. Deane, and I respect that. So yeah, and you can. Well, you have claimed me, and I do. And you're a maths teacher. As I say, I passed 2 subjects at O level, and one of them was commerce. But you taught me, so. So don't worry, I understand. You can clear me right now. Before I just predict I'm a boss. So it's all right. I hear you, Mr. Deane. I hear you. I appreciate that, man. I humbly appreciate that. Trust me. I am shocked and overwhelmed by the response and the love. What people have reached out back to me and said, boy, Jelly, this has done a whole heap for me now. It has done a whole heap for me too. It has been therapy for me too. So I'm just to clear that out there. Like, and when I started this, I'm going to tell you this up front. When I started this, I say, you know what? I'm going to do them conversation. I said to myself, Jerry, I say, if 10 years time, I'm you and I go listen to them back, me I go enjoy them.
Right.
If I said that, I enjoy the conversation, them I do them, and I listen them back. I'm going to say, but I'm overwhelmed. I can't stop saying the response I've got. When Miss Jones reach out to me, I say, but what she want to come talk to me for? And I say, but yeah. And she come and she have a whole heap. Not I don't want to hear Miss Jones. I'm shocked that current teacher reach out to me through Alfred and say she want to come talk to me. So I appreciate that. But any question,
Yeah.
Miss Johnson, to you, what you think I could have bring up that you'd have like ask? That you'd have like me ask, or any comment you want to say I didn't talk about?
Well, I mean, you have been so rounded, and I can tell because you have had a very good teacher. So take about Mr.
Mr. Deane.
Lennox,
Yeah.
Mr. Dean. Yeah, you. I mean, I feel the same way when I have a student who is doing well. I'll say yes, I've contributed to that success. I feel really good. I guess other podcasts coming up, you could include like ways persons can give back to their alma mater, and also supporting our fundraising events, even if you're not there physically, but you can send your contribution, and even suggestions of some fundraising events that the school might undertake
Well,
that will help to drum up some fund.
funny you say that, Miss Johnson. The podcast I'm coming out for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and this won't be one of them because this one will come out after the homecoming is in July. And I
July, and
decided
they
for
have
all of the podcasts, including the one come out this week, I give about half hour talk about the homecoming week. And I went to that for the next three weeks until the homecoming finish. I went to put it in at the beginning and the end of the podcast. I don't want to side with Trey yet, but this is an excellent suggestion. And going forward, definitely. Anything my Meadowbrook have, it's all about the green and blue for me, man. So I understand exactly what I say. It's not for me, Amanda Scar, I say, boy, I jelly talk about that. And I nothing. I gotta just do it. Because that's the type of person I am. I love Meadowbrook. And anything with enhance and grow Meadowbrook, I want to do it. That's what I said. So I appreciate that. You can call me. If you have an idea about anything, you call me, text me anytime, man. I am that sort of person, man. I'm that sort of person. So the last question, Mr. Deane and Miss Johnson, but you know what, Miss Johnson, you go first. I'm Mr. Deane take the last one.
All right.
Miss Johnson, what makes? Are you still there? So if I ask the question different, what makes Meadowbrook magical?
What makes Meadowbrook magical would be the synergy that we create among ourselves. The nurturing that comes from the staff. And when I say staff, I'm including both teachers, ancillary workers, admin, because we all contribute to the success of the institution. So it's that synergy that we've had. And I've used that word because I know it's a strong word. And if you have the synergy, the school definitely will excel. So it makes it magical because we have that pull that we can work. So with the students knowing what they are about and having the faith and belief in themselves, and the teacher pushing that belief and that faith that they have so that they can be the best of themselves, that magical moment will come out. And it's difficult. It is difficult, but it's a continuous process. The wheel is always turning. And so when you think you have put a set through and would have accomplished one set, here comes in another set that you have to work on and do things differently than you did with the first set. So it makes it magical and continuous, and it makes it ever so dynamic because it just keeps changing into something fulfilling, rewarding, and beautiful. So
I like that, Miss Johnson. And you, Mr. Deane, same question but a different way because I'm not there anymore. What made Meadowbrook magical?
Well, actually, I would say basically the same way Miss Johnson responded. I broaden that. Well, I would just the one word that would come to my mind is just the people. The various combinations of people that have impacted Meadowbrook. The principals, administration, the teachers, the students themselves, and I don't want to make it look as if it's just about this, but it would be foolhardy for us to ignore the fact that the location of Meadowbrook is an important factor in its success.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if Meadowbrook was somewhere else, it would not be the same school. Let us be frank about that.
No, that is the truth, Mr. Deane.
Right?
That is a given.
So we have been, and notice I'm using the word we have been blessed with that location.
Yeah.
But that's not enough, because you can be blessed with a good location. You can be blessed with a number of things and you don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, it is the people that have been at the center of Meadowbrook's success and we're talking about going forward, and trying to revive some of what went before. I'm out of touch now. Really, I've not even been within the property for some time, even though I'm in the area quite a bit. In fact, I'm probably, my estimation, about 3 miles living from Meadowbrook at most right now. Right? But so I've not been on the property. But it doesn't. I don't think it would have changed all that much. You know, considering all that Ms. Johnson has said, that the elements are still there to make it successful. I'm sure it has some measure of success now, if not the kind of success that we have talked about. But I think everything, the ingredients must be there, that it can be built on. But as I said, it is the people. I mean, for me, the teachers were par excellence. I mean, the students were very fortunate to have really good students. I mean, there were some little things along the way, but I mean, nothing that would consider to be, really poor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I mentioned the culture, which is a part of the culmination of all of the things from Meadowbrook.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as a matter of fact, I'm trying to remember if my connection at Meadowbrook wasn't extended before that. But anyway, so the point really here is that it is the location has been a factor, and of course the people been fortunate to get good teachers, good administration, and to have built up a culture where persons appreciate Meadowbrook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well said, Mr. Deane. It's the same sentiments I get. I'm searching for the answer to but it's like, it's almost like you can't pinpoint it, it's exactly where. It's like, but there's something there that we're searching for. But I guess exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess exactly what you're saying. So well said. I appreciate that. Well, anyway, Jerry, Belnavis, Mr. Deane, Lennox Deane, and Hyacinth Johnson. Unless you have any last words, this has been a wonderful conversation for me personally, because it gave me a history, as I said, Jerry, of 50 years. When Miss Johnson talked about Pekka, I don't wonder why I'm the Pekka.
Yeah, I would imagine that he was there that long.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I just wonder what did happen to him. That's the whole point. I just wonder. And she mentioned something else, like even the house. What happened to Mr. Tarp house? Well, that's what we call it, the school house. What's happening over the house now? So people hear this, I hear already about context of the matter, but I say, oh, that's what going on. Manios, as you call him name. I see him face as I call him name, Clinton Jerry. I remember him name as I talk too. So it has been a wonderful conversation, man. A whole heap I'm glad Miss Johnson come on to give you a current day concept of what happened in Meadowbrook.
Yes.
It don't change much at all. Yes, you're saying something, Sadine, sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with you. And I was just going to say that, I appreciate this time. I said it already. And I agree with you in terms of Miss Johnson and 21 years. It's a long time to stay at one place. I've not been anywhere that long. And her very clear appreciation and passion for the place.
Yeah.
And Gerald Davis, it is great to be in touch with you. So we've been talking about linking up now for I don't know how long. And please make sure next time you visit Jamaica to link me up. I don't think the place to say that, but I'm just saying it anyway. And great stuff. God bless.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Jerry, any last word?
Yes, Lennox. It's been great talking to you too. I feel the same way. It's been great catching up. Why it doesn't seem like so many years have passed, but why they have. Yes. I think it's time for our little clique, our little group within the group in the staff room there to get together. Yeah, so we have to start looking some concrete plans. Yeah, I reach out to some people.
Yeah. Sorry, Glester, you did kind of mention. Oh, I guess you will do it when you actually hear the podcast in terms of the homecoming.
Yeah, man. You see what happened?
But,
Yeah, I
yes.
will, Mr. Deane. What happening is there's a couple podcasts I have that will come out before this. And all of those are going to come out before the homecoming. So I would mention, no, man, I'll be talking about the homecoming every week for the next 4 weeks. And the podcast will come out. But it's not included this one. So that's why I don't talk about it so much here. So. But I get you. Because what I've done, I got 2 people, Nadine, who is I remember, she's president at New York chapter.
Nadine Moulton.
Nadine Moulton. Thank you.
Oh,
thank
Nadine
you.
Moulton.
Yeah, thank
Really?
you. She came on.
Okay.
And she came on to talk about her memories. And
I certainly remember Nadine.
yeah, man. So 30,
so do I.
So for 30 minutes after the end of that podcast, she we spoke about the homecoming. So what will happen is that for the next week, even though it's not, I clip it off. My son do it for me. Clip it off and put it on the beginning or the end. So every week for the next 4 weeks. People are going to hear about the homecoming. Yes, exactly. So no matter which podcast come out, I'm going to put it out there that people come know so them come support the green and blue. So that's the whole purpose. So yeah. So Miss Johnson, any last words?
It has been an honor, I must say, to be on your podcast. I'm blessed. When Alfred sent the first one to me and I listened, I was like, wow, I didn't know that some of these things happen. And to be at a school that you have so many history and accomplishment, it has been really a pleasure. And so I'm honored to be a part of the podcast. And I so thank you for the invitation, for accepting me as, a current member and for me to share my experience of what is happening now. And whenever you're ready, you want to get an update from me of what is happening currently at the school, you just let me know. And I will pass on the information. So it has been good, and you're doing a good job. So more blessings and continuity.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. But trust me, the honor is all mine because I didn't know people are going to come chat to me about things that me like. So
yeah,
I feel honored when people come and talk to me because I love the conversation. So, but anyway, I appreciate you taking almost sure out on the Sunday evening to come talk. Gerald Belnavis, Lennox, Deane, and Hyacinth Johnson. This has been a wonderful conversation, and thank you all for coming. Thanks for listening to Meadowbrook Memories, and remember to give us all the support and encouragement you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. And special thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince, who takes care of everything involved in getting the podcast out every week, and without him, this podcast would not be possible. It is his expertise that allows me to do what I love doing every week, having great conversations about Meadowbrook Memories, and he's responsible for everything else. So again, thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince.